This is Sky Sports Live.
It's round 5 of the A1GP series, and this weekend we're heading to the scenic Lake Taupo in New Zealand. Team Switzerland may be leading the championship, but at the halfway stage of the season, we've already seen 6 different teams on top of the podium. 8 teams are yet to win, but most have come close. So which team will become the next nation to take victory?
Victory! What a start! What a superb performance! We have a new winner!
New Zealand has Johnny Reid at the wheel of Black Beauty. He'll be hoping he can give the home crowd something to cheer about. But will Robbie Kerr's return to the GBR cockpit spoil the Kiwi party? Lake Taupo provides the stunning setting to the A1GP Roadshow this weekend. Today, it's race day. Last year, Team Germany dominated here in New Zealand and went on to win the title. Could history repeat itself this time round, or will another nation steal the glory? Well, this is how it's all set up for race day. Here's how they're set for the sprint then. New Zealand setting the fastest lap to take pole yesterday. South Africa's Adrian Zaug lines up next to Reid. Loic Duval, the man to beat in practice all weekend, he's in 3rd. Ireland's 7th. GBR, they have some work to do. They start down in 13th. As far as the feature's concerned, France have their first pole of the season. Christian Vitteros is back in the car for Germany, also on the front row. Championship leaders Switzerland line up in 3rd. For Great Britain, it's a 9th place start. Lots to look forward to today. Here to enjoy it with me, Piers Maserati and Team GBR's Ollie Jarvis. Ollie, unusual qualifying that took place yesterday. Teams leaving it very late to avoid that dirty track. Is that going to be a big problem for them today?
No, I think the dirty track will be less of a problem in the race. Something it may cause issues with is when the cars are trying to overtake off the racing line, it's going to be very dirty, so they have to be very careful and pick their braking points carefully.
Let's talk about the contenders then, Piers. Let's talk about Team New Zealand. On a mission this weekend, Johnny Reid, to win in front of the home fans. Do you expect him to be able to deliver? Is he that sort of driver?
Yeah, he's very quick, and car looks extremely good actually. Traction and under braking looks extremely good. So yeah, he'll be hoping and focusing now on making a good start, and just really flat out in the race.
Team New Zealand are the home hope, Ollie. 20 points behind Switzerland, just the 1 behind France. Obviously, they've got this championship table to think about, but is it really a matter of win or bust for them this weekend in front of the home support?
I think Johnny will certainly be going for the win, especially being at home, but at the same time, he'll be keeping his eye on the championship table, knowing a couple of top 3 results will certainly put him in the championship fight.
Let's talk about South Africa as well. They came out of absolutely nowhere to take a P2 for the sprint today. How big a threat is Adrian Zaug, Piers?
Yeah, extremely, but he's on the outside of the grid, so France and Loic will be looking to follow through at the start, New Zealand. So, I mean, could be hung out to dry at the start, so he's going to be very careful, Adrian, yeah. Yeah,
you mentioned Loic there. Loic Duval's been faster all weekend. Starts the sprint in 3rd. Could we see him possibly win this weekend here?
Possibly. It's extremely difficult to pass, and then Ollie said if there's a mistake, then obviously he's going to take a chance and go for it for sure.
Let's talk about Team GBR. Ollie, at the moment, they're way down in 13th. What went wrong for Robbie in qualifying yesterday? Have you had a chance to speak to that team over the last couple of hours or so?
I've been in contact with the team briefly, but I'm trying to leave them to sort of do their own thing. It sounds like you got a bit of traffic in qualifying 1 and 2. And then in qualifying 4, I understand there was a problem in sector 3, the last sector. The first 2 sectors were very good, so the car seems capable. So hopefully we'll see him come through in the race.
GBR's race strategy, though, for this particular sprint race, they're right in the middle of it all. How careful has Robbie got to be not to cause problems here and not to go off?
I think the start's going to be crucial. You can gain a lot of places or lose a lot of places at the start. There were issues last year with the rolling start, so he's got to keep his nose clean, try and keep the car out of trouble. And then, just attack. He's got nothing to lose from 13th on the grid.
OK, thanks, chaps. Last year, the top 3 in qualifying finished both the sprint and feature races in the same order. This year, then, the track has been modified to change all that. John Watson and Lee McKenzie have more.
Johnny Reid gave John Watson some tips to ensure he had the inside line round the Taupo track.
Start-finish line's only 300 metres behind us, and it seems to me you only have to blink once and already you're into turn one.
That's exactly right, John. The cars are going everywhere. It gets very tight in here, and you've got to pick your line well. It's just so hectic.
Is this the tightest turn one of any of the circuits that we visit throughout the year?
Yeah, I would say so. It's very tight, and the cars are scrambled at the start here. So, you know, it's very important to pick your line well and get the car through here and get the good drive out.
You've got two chances to pick your line. You've got the sprint race, the rolling start, and you've got the standing start for the feature race. What's most difficult here?
I would say the rolling is more difficult because, you know, the cars are going faster, they're more spread out line-wise, and you just never know what the other cars are going to do.
Johnny, you're barrelling down the main straight here, power boost, 260 kilometres per hour, and suddenly we've got a brand new turn 12.
Yeah, exactly, and the idea of this change is to influence passing, you know, introduce passing into this area of the track, and I think we're definitely going to see that this weekend.
Well, I mean, I want to see more overtaking for sure, but I mean, this is a totally different corner to the one we had last year.
That's exactly right, and the whole flow of this section of the track now is completely different, and the way you approach and attack these corners is completely different.
3.3 kilometres and 14 turns on this mildly revised Taupo circuit. Hug the curb the entire way around turn 1 will position you perfectly to then attack turns 2 and 3, and you want to make this a blend, and it's gentle on the throttle, no stabs, stop, start, keep the car flowing, and then it's turn 4, a little bit quicker than the previous two corners, and again suddenly on the brakes into turn 5, get the car into the apex, accelerate out, second, third, fourth gears through this right hand flick, and then hard on the brakes, and look, even I lock up the inside wheel into turn 7. Back on the throttle, second, third, fourth gear, flat out through turn 8, and then the approach into turn 9, watch for the bumps on the entry. But worse still, there's a bump in the middle of the corner. That'll take a lot of cars off on the exit. A momentary draw of breath, and then through turn 10, hard on the brakes into turn 11. This is the key corner on the Taupo circuit, because good exit speed will determine your top speed down the main straight. Bumpy on the exit, pull the car over to the middle of the track, because again, another bump in the straight. There it is there. Sixth gear, 260 kilometers per hour, and into the revised turn 12. Slower in, then turn 13, keep the car neat and tidy, and then finally turn 14, on to start, finish straight, and another great lap of Taupo.
I think even John Watson found that going a little bit tough out there on the Taupo track. Ollie, let's just talk about it, because a couple of drivers struggled with it yesterday, didn't they?
Yeah, well, it's a very physical circuit to start with, but it's heavy braking zones on a very bumpy track. So what we noticed was guys sort of losing the rear end of the car, entering the corner. So it could be a problem in the races, especially as the tyres start to wear and the brakes wear.
Wasn't the most exciting a couple of races last season, so turn 12 has been modified to change all of that in the hope of seeing some more exciting racing. Was that a necessary move in your opinion, Piers?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as I said yesterday, the race was hardly any overtaking last year. I remember it well. And, you know, they've got to improve the spectacle for the guys that are paying to go and watch the race.
Warm, windy and dusty. 3 words to describe that track out there and the conditions. What do you think the conditions will do on the track today, and how do you think the drivers will deal with them, Ollie?
I think you're going to see the wind sort of blowing as it was in qualifying, but in the race it'll be much easier. You'll have 22 cars going around all the time. The drivers will be on the track constantly. With qualifying, it's one lap. You've got to push, give it your all, so it's much more difficult. So you're not going to see as many mistakes, but you will see a few throughout the race.
And hopefully you'll see plenty of overtaking today in Taupo. OK, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, though, the first of the race day action, the sprint race. Welcome back to Taupo, New Zealand for A1GP's first race weekend of 2008. Conditions warm and very windy, but the good news is it's not raining. Let's bring you the first of the race day action from Taupo, then the sprint. Let's go trackside and join our commentary team with John Watson and Ben Edwards for the first of the race day action.
So that was the story of qualifying then, in tricky conditions with the wind blowing across the track and causing them all to go out late. Now, we arrived a little bit earlier on this morning for the sprint race to see if Johnny Reid could defend that pole position. Let's see what happened. The breeze is blowing quite strongly across the Taupo circuit as we prepare for the sprint race here in A1GP World Cup of Motorsport. Loic Duval starting from 3rd place for Team France. He'll be on the pole position for the feature race later, but he's got to come from the 2nd row this time. Adrian Zaug starts 2nd on the grid, good for South Africa. They could do with some points here, but they all have to try and beat this man, Johnny Reid for New Zealand. He's on pole position after a fantastic effort in qualifying. He really grabbed the pole position right at the last moment and judged the conditions, which were tricky, to perfection. So that's how they line up on the front of the grid, with New Zealand on pole and South Africa 2nd. But behind them, watch out for Team France. Loic Duval, as I say, very, very quick this weekend. And Germany's Christian Vittoris returning to his nation's car. Well, he could be one to watch as well. The Netherlands and the USA are next up on the 3rd row. Row 4, we've got Ireland and Canada. And then on row 5, it's Malaysia and Brazil. The Swiss team leading the points at the moment are way down the grid in the 11th. Great Britain further down than expected in 13th. John Martin makes his debut for Team Australia. And as we get towards the back, it's Indonesia and Pakistan that complete the grid. All set then, the cars are in formation as we prepare for the start of the sprint race here at Taupo in New Zealand. They have to keep their formation here, otherwise the start will be called off. If they behave themselves, the race director will allow them to start. They're looking very good, and away we begin to accelerate. Lights go out, away we go, and it's a good start from both front row men, and France also, but New Zealand has a good line into the first corner. Germany also pushing hard. France has done well and nipped up the inside, off Malaysia, and also Switzerland,
and
I
Brazil
think.
as well. So 4 cars involved in that incident at turn 1, and one of them, well, I see the Malayan car, it's out altogether, but a pass from Germany gets up to 3rd place.
Germany into 3rd, past France. That's a good move by Christian Vittoris. That's what they wanted to see from their man. But Switzerland, the nation that is leading the championship, is out of the race. Real drama here.
What they're doing, Switzerland has gone from turn 1, driven across the racetrack, driven across the grass to turn 7, and he's waiting to join the racetrack at the tail of this field. So he's sitting on the grass at the exit of turn 7, and he's still sitting there. He can't get the car to move.
In the Swiss pit, they're getting spares ready. The safety car has been called. It's going to be safety car out there on track, which will bunch them all together again. New Zealand got away beautifully there at the start. There was always likely to be an incident in the middle of the pack. Look at Great Britain, moved up hugely there, up to 8th place, having started 13th. He managed to take advantage of it. But there is Malaysia again, the luck still riding against Alex Young. He's out of it.
But waved yellow flags all the way down the straight, so no overtaking is permitted.
Ferrari waits at the first corner for them to make it down there. What a dramatic opening lap. Well, it is New Zealand that took advantage. They are leading from South Africa. Germany managed to nip into 3rd. That was a good move by Christian Vittoris. Looks of resignation once again in the Malaysian pit. Ireland did well too, up to 6th place. Good start. He was 7th on the grid, but Great Britain the biggest mover, and Portugal as well. Portugal up to 9th position from, I think it was around 14th on the grid, so that's a good start. And Australia into the points, into 10th place. Well done to debutant John Martin.
So Neil Yarney trying to get that car pushed out as we look in the garage.
Canada.
Well, Canada did appear. There's certainly a red car. Let's look again at the start. So clean start from the front 3 rows of the grid, but behind, keep an eye on rows 5, 6 and 7.
Yep.
Swiss car comes down the inside. Neil Yarney tries to dive down the inside just behind Ireland. The collision between, well, in fact, it's a meet in the sandwich because Canada got caught on the outside. Malaysia in the middle and Switzerland, and there you see Brazil driving all the long way around. That was the Canada car we saw in the middle of the racetrack.
Yeah, here it is again from Switzerland's point of view. He tried to get on the inside. There is space, but on the outside, there's Canada closing.
Look, that front wheel, the left front wheel, probably hit just behind the head of Neil Yarney. It was so close. Contact between the wheel and the roll hoop of that Swiss car, and Neil Yarney fortunately not getting a clip on the head. There you can see bodywork radio. Rides the car all down the right-hand side of the Swiss car.
Oh, what a shame. It's just one of those situations where 3 into 1 doesn't go, but the New Zealand crew were happy because Johnny Reid made a great start, managed to stay in front of South Africa through the first turn, and that's exactly what they wanted.
They won't be worried about the safety car, but he's focused on keeping some tyre pressure and temperature here.
Now this is going to be a 14-lap race or 19 minutes plus 1 lap. We've got 13 laps to go. They're coming up to completion of their second lap. And this is the first of those 2 laps that has been under the control of the safety car. Safety car stays out. So 1 more lap under that control. Well, they try to remove, they've got the Malaysian car away safely behind the barriers. They've got the Swiss car behind the barriers at the entry into turn 7. Neil Yanni drove his car across the grass and shortcutted 6 corners to get to the exit of turn 7, but he couldn't get the car back onto the track.
So a real opportunity for New Zealand here to close the gap in the championship on Switzerland. Switzerland out of the sprint race, and now New Zealand could close to within some 5 points of the lead if they stay where they are. France will also be up there too, running in 4th position at the moment. Loic Duval did lose out a little bit on that opening lap to Team Germany. Christian Vittoris driving well, proving that he can race as well as he can qualify.
Well, that was probably a little bit of caution on the part of France, because Christian Vittoris started behind France on the grid. They were alongside on the grid, but 4th position to that 3rd of France. But going through turns 4 up into 5, somehow managed to find the space to plant his car in the inside to take that position away and get to 3rd.
Poor old Alex Young being consoled by Greg Wheeler, his engineer. I don't think he could have done anything different. He gave the Swiss car room on the inside, but then the Canadian car on his outside came across him. But then, you know, Wickens was just trying to take his line. Not really anybody's fault, but unfortunately it's accounted for 3 possible front-running cars.
Yes, and particularly the Swiss car had placed itself on the inside of the corner, legitimately so, and 3 into 2 will not go. And of course a car higher up in the middle of the corner trying to get down, and there was nowhere for this car to go. That's the Malaysian car. We see Neil Yanni just walking back. Damage to that car, and I don't know what damage might have been done to the Swiss car, because the Malaysian car, the lights are out. The Malaysian car rode over the right-hand side and got very close to Neil Yanni's race helmet.
The safety car is heading into the pits. We're about to go racing again here at Taupo in the sprint race, and it's New Zealand with the advantage at the moment, and immediately Johnny Reid gets on the power and he goes for it, trying to escape from South Africa. And Germany's had a great restart here. Christian Vittoris putting South Africa under pressure as they head down towards turn 1. He's going to try and go around the outside, surely not. No, South Africa stops that happening, and France is going to close up behind.
So you could see Germany was all set to make a move. Christian Zaug made sure that didn't occur. But again, Germany wants through turns 4. Can he do to Brazil, or to South Africa, what he did to Germany? No, Christian Zaug covers that corner. But directly behind, you've got France waiting to reclaim that 3rd place. Lost it on the first lap in turn 4.
So we're tucked in behind the South African car at the moment, with Christian Vittoris driving for Team Germany, and then France, Loic Duval. And this is all allowing the Kiwis to escape. New Zealand car, Black Beauty, is well ahead. He's got a couple of seconds advantage over these guys.
So through turn 9, everybody gets through cleanly and safely. Nobody running the edge of the curb. At this part of the proceedings, there's the gap just over, well, half a second. But 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and then a gap back to the Netherlands in 5th.
Power boost time on the long straight. See who goes for it. Will they go for the extra 30 horsepower? Nobody's on the green. Yes, USA on the green. That shows they're using the power boost button. And they only have 4 opportunities to use it in this short sprint race. But look at New Zealand's lead. A very useful advantage for Johnny Reid already. And it's South Africa versus Germany, where we're putting our attention, and then France not far behind.
Well, Christian Vittoris clearly has got a very quick car. Dives down the inside, but he was too far back, but it indicates Christian. But he's gone alongside in the inside. Can he maintain it? He's going into turn 2. Zaug swings across the front of the Germany car and blocks Germany in the attempt to pass into turn 2 or 3.
This is feisty stuff from Christian Vittoris, and it's good to see. As long as he doesn't overdo it, they want that car in one piece. The points for where he are very useful.
Keep an eye further back. Robbie Kerr, Team GBR in 8th place. He fancies the 7th, currently occupied by USA.
Yeah, that'll be interesting there. Just flashing through shot. We're on board with Ireland, running in 6th place behind the Dutch car of Jeroen Bleekemolen. So Netherlands up for some useful points here. Let's just take a look at that attempt from Germany.
Well, a lock-up, in fact, from South Africa late in the brakes, but Germany just pulled out, showed the nose of the car. Good strategy, actually got alongside, but on the run up into turn 2 wasn't in position to try and enforce it.
No, but as you say, good racing from both of them. Look at the lead Johnny Reid's got here. Here's that battle for 2nd then. Adrian Zaug for South Africa, up against the youngster for Germany, Christian Vittoris, who is looking for a chance to nip through. Can't do it there. This is the revised corner. We thought we might see a little more overtaking there, but it's still tough to get alongside.
So no change on as we've got 9 laps to go and 5 laps in the record book.
Another lock up from South Africa. He can't quite get the braking right behind. The Netherlands and Ireland are close together on board with Adam Carroll for Team Ireland.
Adam Carroll has run down the Netherlands on that last lap. The gap between the two cars, 0.2 of a second.
Well, these guys all pushing very hard as they come across the curb camera. There is Neil Yarni back in the Swiss pit. Well, I suppose he was in 11th anyway. It was always going to be tough to score points from this one. He went for it. It didn't come off, but he's still got a good grid position for later in the day. But he will know that his points advantage is about to be slashed by New Zealand. There's Team GBR's Robbie Kerr still pushing hard in 8th place.
So there's not an awful lot Robbie Kerr can do. He can certainly get himself close to the tail of the USA car, but Jonathan Somerton, I reckon, is about as tough a race driver in a race car as Robbie Kerr. Robbie Kerr made a pass here last year. He tried it, he just again, almost tried to the mirror. He's got it. He's got alongside USA in turn 11, side by side in the exit of the corner. Now it's a drag race down the straight. Is it going to be power boost for both, or are they going to maintain? Robbie Kerr on the inside going into turn 12. Last of the late breakers, it's going to be Kerr on the inside, yes.
Oh, they made contact. Oh, what a shame. That was a great move going on.
That was all there, but just the contact came and no quarter given. There's the big look at the side of the right-hand side of the Team GBR car. And China goes across turn 13 as well and comes back just behind the Indonesia car.
What a shame. That was such good racing going on, and for it to end in contact. Look, Indonesia cutting across now. Mexico trying to join in. Brazil, who had that problem early on, ran across the dirt, now gets past. But Robbie Kerr's out. He can't believe it. He felt he had that move made.
Well, I think going into the corner, in terms of side by side, the USA car was marginally ahead, and consequently that was the decision that was taken by Jonathan Somerton. I'm going to take the corner. Let's watch it again. You can see how close they are coming down. Well, in fact, Robbie Kerr was ahead, and it was the USA car turned in. So that was Robbie Kerr's corner, and the contact came and Somerton turned in, and Robbie Kerr got bumped and put out of the race. He'll feel unhappy about that, and so will Team GBR.
That is just such a waste of what was one of the moves of this season so far, managing to get alongside into that turn 11. That was a tough move, and he seemed to have it all done, and then that slight contact into turn 12 enough to put him out.
The reason it occurred is because being on the inside of the corner, his entry into the corner was going to be that much more acute, whereas the car on the outside, Team USA, should have been able to carry a little bit more speed. And they turned in, but Robbie Kerr was there and the contact occurred, and the loser was Team GBR.
So New Zealand leads. Germany's into second place now, John. We didn't see what happened, but Germany is now in second place. South Africa has dropped to third, so Christian Vittoris. Let's see what happened
What
here.
a long overtake. Look, he's coming down into turn 1. So Kerr runs wide. Adrian Zaug runs wide in the exit of turn 1, and an open door for Germany. And Christian Vittoris says, thank you very much, I'll have that second place, and adios.
There's the replay. It was easy, wasn't it, for Christian Vittoris? He applied the pressure. Bit of a rookie kind of mistake from Adrian Zaug there, and he paid the price.
Yeah, but remember, Adrian Zaug pretty much lap upon lap has been locking it up going into turn 1. This time he just overran the middle of the corner and offered the opportunity. Now it's France, Loic Duval. He's going to try and do something, and clearly the South Africa car hasn't got the setup of Germany, and I suspect neither that of France.
No, I think he's got a problem on the brakes as Adrian Zaug. It does seem odd that he would be locking up that much. He's a very competent driver, so there must be some sort of problem, but he's going to be tough to defend from Duval, who's one of the best on the brakes around this Taupo circuit. That's where he's had his little bit of an edge so far this weekend, and it's going to be hard to keep him back. Well, down there in the British pit, Robbie Kerr's made it back. What disappointment for them, but we've still got some great racing going on here. South Africa versus France for third place.
Right on the tail of the South Africa car, France. They weren't close enough to try and emulate what we saw Germany do one lap earlier, but clearly the France car, the quicker of these two cars.
Interestingly though, Germany's just set the fastest lap in their chase of New Zealand, John. Christian Vittoris is flying. Now he's got past South Africa. Germany going on the hunt and going after race leader Johnny Reid.
So getting past Adrian Zaug in South Africa was one issue. Whether he will attempt to do something similar. If he's getting the opportunity, clearly he will. And the pace of these two nations, well, that last lap, Germany the fastest lap, in fact, second fastest lap. New Zealand doing 16.1 on that last lap, 15.8 for Germany.
Yeah, but you can see how much that gap has closed, because Johnny had a big lead just a lap or two ago. Still very tight for third between South Africa and France. Johnny Reid should have plenty here to hold on to it. 6 laps to go. Germany might begin to close up, but I can't really see him finding a way past that easily unless Johnny Reid makes a mistake. Always possible here around the tight confines, particularly one or two areas of this track where it's very easy to put a wheel over the edge.
So there's the battle for third place. There we see first and second. And Christian Vittora's most impressive race drive I think we've seen outside of his debut when he raced in Mexico 1 year ago.
That's right, good stuff from Vittoris then. After Amamuller's win in China last time out, Team Germany are really back to full form, and not just with one driver, but with two drivers. That's impressive. Here is Adrian Zaug still fighting a car that doesn't quite want to do what he wants it to, but so far it's enough to keep ahead of France.
Well, run out of turn 5, down through the curve of 6, hard on the brakes. And this is where the G-loads start to build up. You can see a little bit again, that wisp of smoke coming off the inside wheel of the South Africa car. Meantime, Netherlands consolidating, Ireland in 6th place, Netherlands in 5th. And there again, back to the battle through turn 9. Careful not to drop a wheel off the side of that bit of the exit of the corner. And up into turn 11.
Quick note on some of the other performances. Portugal going well in 8th. Australia, oh, he's got it onside, and he's got a chance here. Loic Duval's going to do what Robbie Kerr did on USA. Fantastic move, and there Eric Boulier says, yes, good move. And France is ahead of South Africa.
Yeah, got it under brakes, got the car into position. Maybe a slightly relaxed Adrian Zaug, looking to come back down the straight, looks to put the car down the inside, but there's 2 car lengths too short.
Again, it was under braking. Again, that car doesn't seem to quite have the braking that Adrian Zaug is looking for at the moment. So now we have a different top 3. It's still New Zealand leading, Germany second, France up to 3rd, South Africa back.
Oh, big shot. And that's the Czech Republic
Czech
car.
Republic, India, and I'm not sure if there was another car involved.
Up at turn 12. So under braking into turn 12.
I was just about to say, funnily, India had come from 20th on the grid to be in 12th place. They were flying. Czech Republic had also moved up well, but now they've tangled, and that's dropped India back into the clutches of Pakistan.
So the car's still running, but I mean, a big there you see the Czech Republic car, and nose and tons of dust up in the air as the car bounced over here. Look again and see.
Oh, a mistake.
Well, he hit the back of Lebanon, and then, well, it's nothing to do with India. India just happened to be there.
Yeah, so India managed to get through, but that was a mistake there as Thomas Enger was caught out by Lebanon and ploughed into the back of him. This was the view from on board Thomas Enger's car. That's the remains of the front, and he's out of the race, and what a shame, because he had made excellent progress from 19th on the grid, so big disappointment. He was almost in the points there.
Going out to the middle of the racetrack, that's the bump in the middle of the racetrack that you've got to be careful of. You don't want to ride it. Damage the bottom of the car, and of course the key to speed in an A1GP car is running it as low to the ground as possible.
Now India, having survived that incident, John, are in the points. He's up into 10th place. He started 20th. Who would have thought that? India.
I don't think he even knows what happened. He wasn't even wasn't at the races.
That's amazing. Well, you've got to always keep fighting. He said that to Lee on the grid when she interviewed him. He was still going to push. Well, winner last time out. He's come from 20th. He's now into 10th. A point on offer. Great effort from the rain car to Kerr, and he was a bit fortunate there that those 2 spinning cars didn't take him out, but you've got to have a bit of luck with you sometimes. Canada off. They were in trouble anyway. They were right back because of that pit stop early, so that doesn't make too much difference to their position.
No, just a big off in turn 12.
Now on board with New Zealand, and let's listen in. We've got a little bit of radio communication from the New Zealand car.
You need 4/10 the fastest lap, 4/10 the fastest lap.
Well, that's a tall order. He's being told he needs 4/10 of a second to get the fastest lap, and that would be to retake it from Team Germany.
Yeah, I mean, the lap times have now pretty much stabilised in the 1:16s, the low 1:16s. The fastest lap to date, 1:15.7. That was Germany on lap 9. We're now on lap 11, so 3 laps to go, and the Germany...
He has opened up the gap again. That's down at turn 1. Canada's just pulled off
after that incident in turn 12. So they've got 2 laps to go to try and regain that single fastest lap. But if you see the move that Rob Wickens got all wrong in turn 12, and she got the car going again, but pulled off down at the exit of turn 12. The car's actually just off the racetrack.
Look, this will happen. The left rear broke.
Well, I'm not surprised. That he went off in a pretty sort of aggressive fashion, and one of the suspension links has been damaged, and the car is now on the exit of turn 1 as he walked away, and there's a collection of cars, Malaysian car and Canada car.
Well, so the guys are going to be busy down there in the pit lane. Team GBR back out again. That's interesting. So they've sent the car back out. Now this will be to try and take fastest lap, no doubt, and also to make sure the car's in good shape for the race later on today.
Yes, indeed, and of course also on a clear part of the racetrack, so Robbie Kerr can go out there and focus on one single thing, that's getting that single fastest lap. We've seen Team New Zealand getting in touch with Johnny Reid to tell him we want that single point. And it's going to be between New Zealand, I think, and Great Britain if they can challenge Germany's one, 15.740.
Johnny Reid coming around and looking good at the moment. It's all looking as though they've got this one sorted. He goes on to the last lap now, and it could well be that Team New Zealand are going to become the second nation, the second team to take a victory on their home soil. Look, the battle here between Pakistan and Italy. This is hotting up. 11th place is what they're fighting for. Italy's there, and so now is Brazil, who's done well, Sergio Jimenez, to catch up these guys after his off earlier on.
So Pakistan managed to get the car around the corner in spite of that lock-up into turn 12. And Adam Khan, like we know he's always late on the brakes, did a good job.
Indeed he did, but Adam Khan's still going to have to fight this one for the remainder of the lap if he's going to hold on to 11th, still just outside the points. India just ahead of them in the final points playing place. China chasing as well in 14th place. But Johnny Reid, after that superb effort in qualifying yesterday in the most difficult conditions with the dust blowing across the track, he snatched pole position for this sprint race. He made an absolutely brilliant start, and now he's just got the straight and the final sequence to go through to take victory on home soil. What a moment this is going to be for Johnny Reid. He's become the hero of New Zealand over the last couple of seasons. He's just got the last little sequence to go. The fans are clapping and applauding him already in the grandstand. They're standing for Johnny Reid as he comes through, and it's a home win for New Zealand. Johnny Reid takes the checkered flag. He becomes the first winner too, as A1GP becomes the first global motorsport series to run on biofuel. What a result for Johnny, what a result for the team. Germany took second, France third. We've still got some battles going on. Australia crossing the line in 9th, useful points. India is going to take 10th, and that final point from 20th on the grid. And Pakistan still fending off Italy. Looks like Pakistan will take 11th, Italy 12th, and Brazil right behind with China there too. But what a moment this is for Johnny Reid, for the whole of New Zealand, as they have won on home turf. And it is absolutely crucial in terms of the championship as well. Real delight, that's nice. Rob Creswell and Chris Gawn, the engineers of the top two cars, they work together, but shake of the hands there as New Zealand taking the win from Germany. And what a race that was from Christian Vittoris as well. But Johnny now really enjoying this moment, celebrating with the fans around this Taupo circuit, who are giving him a huge reception as he makes his way down towards the final sequence and towards pit lane entry. And it really is a wonderful time for Johnny. Of course, there's still another race to go. Look at that. A rousing reception indeed for Johnny Reid. He comes back into the pit lane, and well, he will be celebrating. He will make the most of this. Couple of wins in Brno in the Czech Republic earlier on in this season. Bit of a quiet patch over the last couple of events, but what a time to turn it on again here in New Zealand. The crew are there to congratulate him. He's very popular within that team. They love Johnny. He really works well with the whole group, and they'll be delighted about that. Christian Vittoris, a superb second. What a way to come back to the German team after Michael Ammermuller's win last time out. That was a feisty drive from Vittoris. Colin Giltrap on the right, the seat holder for New Zealand. David Sears there, responsible for so much of the engineering knowledge. His father, former British touring car champion Jack Sears, here this weekend. He'll be enjoying this moment as the guys come up onto the podium now to celebrate their achievements. There's Loic Duval, finished in 3rd place for France, and of course he'll be starting on pole position for the feature race a little bit later on today. He'll be pleased to have got himself onto the podium and to pick up that bronze medal. There's no denying the fact that he will go into the feature race as favourite, but there are 2 pit stops to be dealt with in that, and that's going to be tricky on a fairly tight pit lane. But Duval, a worthy 3rd place for him. 2nd place, best ever result for Christian Vittoris. Germany really are on form. They've got Michael Ammermuller to call upon as well, who's already taken a race victory, and the winners of Season 2 of A1GP really are back up there. But New Zealand taking the victory here. What a moment this is, and he's presented the medal by Chris Amon, New Zealand motorsport legend, the man who in his generation was one of the finest Grand Prix drivers, and it's a lovely touch that he presents the gold medal. It's a moment of real pride for Johnny Reid, this, taking the victory for New Zealand.
and you can just see what it means to him and to the fans. Let's hear from the top three.
Johnny Reid, you've won the sprint race in your home country. What does that mean to you?
Oh, it's huge, absolutely huge. It's the greatest moment in my motorsport career. It means a lot to me, and the pressure's been on all week, and it's been all go since I got back from Christmas break, and it's really, really satisfying just to get one on the board for everyone. The pole position was nice, but now we've got the points on the board, and that's what matters in the championship. So, great to have all the home support, and just stoked to be number one in the sprint.
Johnny, well done. In second position, Team Germany, Christian Vittoris. Christian, it was a great start. You made great drive out there.
Yeah, the main goal was to come on the podium for the sprint race, and now it's in second place, which makes me really happy. I feel comfortable in the car now. The car was feeling fine, and I'm looking forward to the future race now.
Christian, thank you. And in third place was Team France, Loic Duval. Loic, you lost out at the start. You made up the place to get back on the podium. Were you just caught out? What happened?
I think Adrian took a really good start, and actually was front of Johnny, so I was behind Johnny already quite far third, and Christian could pass me, in the first two corners, and then I managed to come back on the podium, so I had a good chance to overtake the South African car, so it was not too bad. The car looks okay. We're going to start first for the second one, so I'm still really confident for the second race.
Let's confirm the result. New Zealand taking the victory from Team Germany and France. South Africa down to fourth in the end, ahead of the Netherlands and Ireland. USA in seventh place, Portugal in eighth, ahead of Australia, scoring points on John Martin's debut. That's good news. And India picking up the final point. Further down the order, Pakistan and Italy, then Brazil, China, Lebanon, Indonesia, Mexico, and some of those that had problems, including Great Britain. They were out of luck on this occasion. Fastest lap went to Team Germany, so they pick up the extra point.
Welcome back to Taupo, New Zealand, in what was a pretty fascinating sprint race by all comparisons. Piers, let's start at the beginning. A 4-car incident at turn 1. Who was to blame for that?
Well, it's pretty tight down there, but it looks like Neil Yarni couldn't keep the car into the curb tight enough, actually, and he just tags the Malaysian car. He then obviously goes straight into the Canada car there, and it's all over.
How tricky is it to get off to a good rolling start, Ollie, on a racetrack like this when you're so quickly into turn 1?
It's very difficult. I mean, the rolling starts is it's one of the hardest parts, and obviously the most dangerous part of the race. But Neil looks like he just runs a little bit too wide there, and like he says, just tags the Malaysian car.
Saw plenty of battles between various different teams over the course of this sprint race, but what about what happened between Germany and South Africa? Because Christian Vittoris back in the car, Piers. How well did he do to apply the pressure here?
Yeah, did a very good job, actually. He makes a lunge at the first corner, and Adrian's locked up quite a few times already. He's not confident on the brakes at all, runs wide, and then this is the first attempt that he has on him. Adrian lifts a little bit there on the entry to the corner, a bit more too. But then here we go with a lunge, and he just distracts him in his mirror. He runs wide, and then he gets better traction out of, and he goes for the pass.
Christian Vittoris getting the drive this weekend. Ollie, how much did that have to do with the fact that he was able to do those rookie sessions?
I think it would have helped a lot. I don't believe Amma Muller or him have been to Taupo before, so it gave him a little bit of advantage. But he's done a good job so far. He pressurised Adrian throughout the race and managed to make up the place.
Let's see what happened with Team GBR then. USA and GBR in a bit of a tussle at this point. Saw GBR go off. What did Robbie do here, or what didn't he do to go off, Piers?
Well, he makes a very good move on the entry to that corner, and he's got a better run. But down the end of the straight here, Robbie seems to hold the car a little bit too late going into the corner, and Sumpton turns in. So it's a little bit 50-50 really, but maybe Rob should have turned in a little bit earlier, I think, and not held him out to dry there.
OK, thanks, chats, for the moment. So things not going according to plan for Robbie Kerr in the sprint race. That's what happened there. But ahead of the feature race in Taupo, let's join Lee McKenzie, who's trackside with him.
Thanks very much, Georgie. Hello and welcome back to Taupo. We've had an exciting sprint race, highs and lows. Highs for Johnny Reid, who of course won the race. Lows for Robbie Kerr, who's very despondent at the moment. Robbie, how was the incident from your perspective?
Oh, the instant from where I was sitting, I thought I'd overtaken him, and then it obviously happened going into the corner, and I'll leave it down to the stewards. I'm not going to go and chase up after it, but obviously it's very disappointing to end the race that way when we were looking so competitive.
Yeah, you'd made up quite a lot of places. The car looked quick, you looked quick. Was it going well up until that point?
Yeah, it was going exactly as planned, and you can't get much better than that. We were moving forward on a tight circuit where it's difficult to overtake, and I believe the overtaking move was done, well, halfway down the straight, if not the corner before, to be completely honest. And then to have be hit that way and to take out the race is very disappointing.
Have you spoken to the stewards about it?
I haven't seen them. I'd leave it to the team.
And what about the car? Any damage? I mean, they're working quite frantically on it now. Is it okay for the feature race?
It should be okay. We went back out there and did a couple of laps where we were second quickest, I believe, we're only just off the quickest time. And the car wasn't exactly perfect after such a big hit, and so we're fairly happy where the car is. We'll make a few tweaks for the feature race to make it more drivable, but apart from that, we'll just go forward and try and do it all again in the feature race, but not come off.
Robbie, thanks very much for the moment. Well, Robbie's hoping for more success this afternoon. It couldn't really have got much worse than the sprint race there, whilst New Zealand's Johnny Reid aims for the double. Back to you.
Keep our fingers crossed for both of those characters. In a moment, your chance to win prizes in our Team GBR competition, which we're running this season. First, though, congratulations to Philip James from Heathfield in East Sussex, who was the winner from the Zhuhai weekend. If you'd like to join him and win this selection of Team GBR goodies, including signed T-shirts, programmes, caps and photos, all you have to do is listen carefully to Team GBR's Robbie Kerr, who has this week's question.
Team Great Britain has started the last two feature races second on the grid. Is that true or false? And good luck.
So just to confirm then, the question for this week, Great Britain started the last two feature races second on the grid. True or false? To enter, all you have to do is send us an email at a1gp@skysports.com or go online at skysports.com/A1GP. Please include your postal address and a contact phone number. We'll announce the winner on our next show from Australia in 2 weeks' time. But the correct answer and winner's name will appear on the website from January the 28th. And as I mentioned, all winners throughout the season will automatically be entered into a draw to win a fantastic weekend's hospitality as guests of A1 Team GBR at Brands Hatch in May. Now, New Zealand have a reputation for making the headlines. Today, it was by winning the sprint. Earlier on in the week, it was for something entirely different. Lee McKenzie explains.
Auckland International Airport and the A1GP car. The runway was going to be the scene for the fast and the furious, one of the biggest modes of transport against one of the quickest cars around. And with planes landing every 3 minutes, there was no time for error for either the Air New Zealand 777 plane or A1GP's Team New Zealand and its captain, Johnny Reid.
We've got one shot at it, so it is pretty cutthroat, and there's a lot of tension right now, I've got to say, because we must get everything right. It's not my normal routine, so yeah, a little bit of nerves there, and as long as we get the right radio call at the right time, it'll all work out okay.
Doors to manual, clearance to fly, and time to race. The Black Beauty was directed onto the runway. The 777 was waiting to take off. But who would be the fastest pilot?
So here we are, all set for the drag race between the largest twin-jet commercial airliner in the world, the 777, and the A1GP car with Johnny Reid at the wheel.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
It's race on, all in the middle wheel spin there from Johnny Reid. He tries to get away, applying all 550 horsepower. He's on the power boost trying to beat the 777. He's on the taxiway parallel to the 777 on the wrong way, but the 777's just ahead. It's going to win this first contest. The 777 up into the air, and the A1GP car is beaten.
So 1-0 to the flying machine, but there was one more chance for Johnny to beat the bird.
It's time for the rematch now. Johnny Reid is very fired up. He didn't like losing. He wants to win this contest.
Go.
Away we go, and he's got a good start this time. Look at the A1GP car. The Black Beauty is flying and gets an initial advantage. Now, 90,000 pounds of force from the engines in that 777. I don't know it's going to be enough though, because the A1GP car's ahead and wins the second contest.
It's going to be a good handshake here.
Mate, 1 all, is it?
1 all, mate.
That was great. Yeah,
it was fantastic.
Fantastic, you did a great job.
I was on the limiter pretty much halfway down the runway, and I wasn't going to lift off. I was just quite relaxed, enjoying the scenery as I went past. Had to look up to see the 777. Didn't know where it was at one point, but to top it off with those donuts at the end, just what an experience.
Johnny Reid clearly on a winning streak, be it car or plane. OK, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, the feature race is live and uninterrupted from Taupo. Welcome back to Taupo, New Zealand. The feature race is imminent. Taking you through live uninterrupted race action is our commentary team of John Watson and Ben Edwards.
And it is France on pole position after a long drought of pole positions. Finally, the nation that took the first season by storm has taken pole position for this one, courtesy of Loic Duval. Lining up alongside him on the front row of the grid for the standing start, Team Germany's Christian Vittorius. Then it's Switzerland, who desperately need some points after seeing their gap eroded in the sprint race today. Canada well up there, matching their best ever qualifying position. New Zealand and Portugal next up, then South Africa and the Netherlands. Great Britain a bit farther up on this grid, 9th on the grid, up with the USA, who they clashed with earlier. Brazil and Australia follow next, then Ireland and Malaysia, Mexico and Italy, followed by Lebanon and China. Towards the back, India and the Czech Republic, and then the last row of the grid sees Pakistan and Team Indonesia. That's how they line up then in preparation for this race. Under 4 minutes to go to the start of the race. The Right Honourable Helen Clark, Prime Minister, will make the introduction.
Ladies and gentlemen, great to have the A1GP back here in Taupo. We're a country with a great history in motorsports, and it's fantastic to see this here. And what great news that this A1GP here in New Zealand is the first in the world to use a 30% biofuel mix for an international motor race. I want to wish all the competitors well for the feature race today.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Ladies and gentlemen, could I please ask you to be upstanding and observe a moment's silence for the passing of our great tautra, Sir Edmund Hillary. Kia ora. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, could you please remain upstanding? The national anthem of Aotearoa, New Zealand. He hoa hatua, hona iwi matora, hata whakarongo na me aroha noa. Kia hua ko te pai, kia tauto hata whai, mana ki te amai, Aotearoa, God of nations at thy feet, in the bonds of love we meet. Hear our voices, we entreat, God defend our free land. God Pacific's triple star, from the shafts of strife and war, make her praises heard afar. God defend New Zealand.
Gentlemen, for the pride of your nations, start your engines.
Yoda.
One Lapman. Problem for Indonesia's car stalled in the back of the grid. He'll have to go pretty quickly to catch up to the tail of this field because it's being led by Team France. Loic Duval at a fairly good pace. Now he'll slow down once he gets up to turn 11 onto the main straight to draw the whole field back together. And we've now got that car running, so Satrio Hamanta for Indonesia sprints down the start-finish straight, and well, he'll be catching up to the tail of the field pretty quickly.
Yeah, hopefully that'll give him a chance to get a bit more heat into his tyres, perhaps than the other guys that will be starting around him, but that's a little scare he could have done without. Thankfully, Satrio Hamanta's en route. Switzerland still leading the points by 5 from New Zealand, but France are close in there, 4 points behind, then South Africa. Germany up to 5th now, 2 points ahead of Great Britain, and Great Britain losing out on a chance to score points earlier on. Netherlands and Ireland next up, then India and China. Both nations, though, far down on the grid. Brazil and Mexico also have scored reasonably well so far this year. Now Canada have a big opportunity to move up from 13th. They start 4th on the grid. Portugal have a massive opportunity starting in 6th place as well.
Yeah, I think just that Portuguese car is slightly out of position in relation to the norm that we would expect to see in the top 3 rows. So keep an eye on João Urbano, because he's the one driver who's not been at this end of the grid as regularly as others around him, and he's the car that is on the inside going into turn 1. We saw the contact that occurred there in the sprint race with the Swiss car, Malaysia and Canada. So João Urbano's got to keep himself aware that it isn't just going to be one in the first corner.
Neil Yanni of Team Switzerland, he's had a disastrous start to the day. Can he pick it all up and recover and try and extend that championship lead? He's had wins already this year, of course, in Malaysia. Did the double there. He's had consistent finishes on the podium just about everywhere we have been. But France's Loic Duval is still looking for his first win. He leads them through turn 12, the new revised corner there. Otherwise, this circuit remains the same as it was last year when he took those 2 second places behind Nico Hülkenberg of Germany. This time it's Christian Vittoris for the Germans, but he's looking very, very strong this weekend, and he was only a few thousandths of a second slower than Duval in qualifying.
Yeah, but he drove a very good race in the sprint race, and he actually got the advantage over Loic Duval on the opening lap of the sprint race, and that was, you know, caught Duval somewhat unawares out of turn 4 into turn 5. Opportunistic on the part of the young 18-year-old German driver, going to be 19th in April, so Loic Duval just in pole position, best place to be, but fully aware that the challenge is going to come from Germany from his left.
Last few cars moving into position. Indonesia has managed to regain their spot on the grid. So here we go then, all set for 52 laps of the Taupo circuit in New Zealand. The 5-second board is given. The engine revs start to rise. Lights go out, away we go, and Switzerland, what a start, but it might have been too quick, and Neil Yanni takes the lead. Was it a jump start? We'll have to look at the replay.
Surely Switzerland was moving before anybody else did, but watch the melee of cars in turn 1, but Switzerland leapt forward, split the French and German cars, and I don't know whether he just got the best start, anticipated it, or whether there was a jump start. That will be known to us very shortly. Robin Kerr dives up the inside of Canada through turn 4. He picks up position. Everybody trying to get down the inside into turn 5. There's only room for 1 car at a time.
He's gone wide again though, Kerr. He's lost the place back to Canada. Canada lost out big time there. They started 4th, but they lost 3 or 4 places on the start. It's bunched up behind. There's an accident. India on the inside. Oh, collision. India ends up spinning there.
Yeah, bodywork's flying and the car's been spun round, and there was contact either with, I think, Australia. Bits of bodywork still coming off one of those cars. Contact clearly with Australia.
Oh, what a disappointment for Cartagena, who picked up that point in the sprint race. It's Switzerland that leads the race at the moment, being chased by France and then Germany. We wait to see. We've got yellow flags out. No sign of the safety car, though, on track at the moment. And Neil Yanni, that blistering getaway. We will have to have another look at it, and I bet the race director's looking at it. But the safety car has been called, so
yes,
they will have to slow down.
Yeah, Dave Marshall have just gotten to that car in turn 7. They're going to run quite a long way across the grass to get to that car. They're pushing the car now to safety. There we see the field bunched up as they come through turns 12, 13 and 14. But Switzerland, where did that start come from?
Well, it was electric. I mean, I was looking at the lights initially. I glanced back to look at the grid, and there was Switzerland already going between the 2 front row guys. But, well, we'll have to take a look in a minute. But there is the safety car on circuit. The Ferrari leads them round now, with Neil Yanni just keeping a bit of tyre temperature by weaving around. Netherlands going well. They're in 4th. Portugal got away well, 5th. South Africa 6th. Canada dropped to 7th. Look at this, John.
Yeah, well, you can see him, and he's rolling, but I can't really see clearly whether the lights are out or not. Yeah, whatever it was, if that's a legitimate start, it'll be the start of the series without question.
Absolutely.
I mean, it just went between those 2 nations, and they were barely moving.
So take a look again, looking from the second
I think
row.
he had to have jumped that. I mean, certainly looking at their neither of the front row cars moved, and already Neil was rolling, pointing his car to between Germany and France. We'll wait to see.
Look at the bunching behind. Everybody was desperate to stay out of trouble after the incident in the sprint race. Malaysia got sandwiched again, and you can see Alex Young backing out of it, being careful. He wants to make the end of this race.
And just keep an eye on Team GBR. They slid past Team Canada, but then that was returned at turn 5.
So under safety car, there's poor Indian car, very damaged, weaving its way back towards the pit lane.
Yes, disappointment for India. You know, you think how your fortunes in motorsport can change. You on the top of the podium, and it's 5 weeks ago back in China, and now you're the first car out of the feature race here in Taipo in New Zealand.
Yeah, bitterly disappointing, but no doubt India will be coming back and fighting hard later on in this series after that tremendous victory in China, as you say, but he's just about made it back to the pit lane.
Safety car leads the field down the main straight. I think the lights on the safety car have been turned out, so the race will be underway in just a moment.
Absolutely, so it's going to be a quick intervention from the safety car, and then Neil Yarney's going to lead this group away. He slowed it right down, now he floors the throttle, and into turn 12 he goes victorious behind Duval. So it's Switzerland, followed by France, then Germany, and then watch out for the Netherlands in 4th position, with Jerome Bleekemolen trying to defend that place from Portugal, and then also watch out for Great Britain's Robbie Kerr, because he's going to be fighting to move up the order. Here comes Ireland as well. Ireland in a big challenge down to turn 1, bit of a lock-up, manages to save it, but under pressure from New Zealand.
And how did New Zealand get that far back? They've got Ireland ahead of them, so difficult start for Johnny Reid. He did start back in that race. Well,
he started 5th.
He started 5th. How did he get all the way back?
Yeah, we hadn't spotted. He dropped that many places, way down for Johnny Reid, so he really got caught out on that first lap. I tell you what, if he gets a good result out of this one, it's going to be a huge drive. But up front is still Switzerland versus France, then Germany, Netherlands, Portugal, South Africa, Canada, Great Britain, then USA, Brazil, Ireland and New Zealand, then all the way back down in 12th position ahead of Malaysia, Mexico, Italy, Lebanon, followed by China and Pakistan.
And France is all over the back with Switzerland as they come through turn 10, trying to get side by side. Oh, slides the car, dirt tracks the car, almost gets under the rear wing of the Swiss car, has to back out of the throttle. That's going to give the run to Germany. They've been on the throttle earlier and harder. So Christian Ventors has got a chance to pick up. Is he going to use power boost? Switzerland is certainly on it. Further on the field, no one really still using any at all.
That's surprising. I would have thought Germany would have gone for it. Look at Canada trying to get down the inside of South Africa. Has he done it? Yes, he has. Great move by Rob Wickens.
Well, I tell you what, talking about a missile being launched. Well, that was a move from young Rob Wickens to get down the inside. Christian, or Adrian Zaug, never the easiest to pass, but he had no choice. The place was going to be taken away from him.
Zaug has been struggling on the brakes all weekend. I don't think he has much confidence, and I think Wickens cleverly used that to his advantage. Look at this, Lebanon. Oh, it's hit the back of Italy. Round both Italy and Lebanon go, and that could be the end of their races.
And somewhere along the line, where is Team Ireland?
Have they dropped back as well? Yeah, they have. You're absolutely right. Ireland has dropped right back, so whatever's happened to them. But this, now look, drive-through penalty. Switzerland, John, have been done for a jump start.
I'm not surprised. That certainly looked to be a jump start to me. We've now got 2 cars in turn 1, one in the gravel between the racetrack and the barrier, and the other on the edge of the racetrack. So once again, safety, I'm sure, will be, because that car will take a moment or two. There's no marshal available to get to the Italian car. You see it just by the side of the track. Still Switzerland leading this race as they come up through turn 11, and this is on lap 4.
Safety car's out there, so he won't presumably be allowed to make his drive-through penalty while safety car is out there. He'll probably have to wait until safety car comes in. Safety car taking that route onto the track. And of course, there's Chris Alajajian. I feel so sorry for him in a way, although that one might have been his mistake. Earlier on today, he was in a points-paying position. It looked like Lebanon might score their first ever point, and he got hit by Thomas Enger. Let's take a look. This was something else. I think
well, let me see where Ireland, because we lost.
Oh, no,
that's the incident,
lap.
the first lap, yes. And that was just Noreen Carthagena, way too ambitious, trying to slide down the inside. Really, very little chance of getting down the inside into turn 7. There's not enough room. And particularly in the opening lap when everybody's so compacted, then you're really trying to make space where there isn't.
And Australia took a big whack from that, didn't they? Still running though, John Martin. He's down in 17th place, but I wouldn't be surprised if there isn't a fair bit of damage on the side of that car. He has done his drive-through.
Well, he's back out on track. That's
helped because
yes,
he's done it
indeed.
under safety car.
Yeah,
So
and I think the Swiss team very happy indeed with that. They're looking back and thinking, well, we got the penalty, but are we going to be penalised that heavily or not? Not as heavily had they done it under running outside of the safety car.
But I tell you what, this does change the perspective for the championship. Let's take a look. This is Lebanon hitting Italy.
Yeah, I mean, again, a no-brainer, trying to get down the inside, nowhere near far enough up alongside the Italian car. And there's the incident. Contact into turn 1.
We've seen a lot of problems, and well, again, that left rear, whether that was the consequence of riding up the back of the Italian car, I suspect it was.
Well,
Team GBR in the garage.
What
Robbie
happened
Kerr.
there? I wonder what happened there then. Of course, Ireland had a problem around that same time. Do you think there was any kind of incident between them?
Well, Ireland was involved with the battle with New Zealand. That was a battle with currently New Zealand in 9th place. We didn't see Ireland for a minute, then it's back on racetrack.
Well, I think Simon Hill's got news from the pit lane for us. Simon, what can you tell us?
Yeah, Robbie Kerr from the outset said the car didn't feel right. Obviously had that problem in the sprint race, and then had radioed in that it looked like from the dash there was a problem with the engine. The guys are frantically checking. The engineers from Zytek are looking, and there's a very, very strong smell of oil here, so looks like it could be game over for Robbie Kerr.
Oh, what a weekend. What a weekend for Team GBR. It's been disastrous for them. The safety car remains out there. The lights are still flashing away. They're not going to be going racing just yet, but France are now leading this race because Switzerland have done the drive-through penalty, so it's now France 1, Germany 2, Netherlands 3rd, Portugal up to 4th place. What a position that is in prospect for João Urbano, and Robbie Kerr's out of it. As Simon mentioned, it looks as though it's all over. Now let's take another look at the start of this race, John. We'll try and keep an eye on the lights as well, and that getaway that Neil Yarny made, and he's been penalised for it. Watch the lights.
Okay, there, lights on top left screen. Look to the second car on the right.
Oh, I don't know.
Well, the lights have gone out, but there was no movement from the cars ahead.
I don't know. Looking at that, you have to say, well, actually, the car from that angle only seemed to move once the lights went out. But of course, that angle is a bit deceptive. The camera's a long way from the car, and it might have been he was just creeping forward.
He certainly did have that initial movement before he really nailed the throttle and shot between the two cars. But judging by that particular view, you have to say, let's look at it again. Red lights, wait for them to go out. See any movement with the car?
Well, no, actually, looking at that,
it looks like the front row of the grid didn't move at all.
And look, those guys have just been watching the same picture you have. They've been studying the monitor. They can't believe it, that they've been done for it.
Based on those pictures, you have to say that Switzerland's been hard done by.
Well, he's got them work to do now, because this changes the whole championship now. Switzerland, who came to New Zealand with a very healthy advantage, looked very much in control of the whole situation. Suddenly, they are presumably going to lose the title lead, depending what happens up front, but they've got one of their big challengers, France, leading the race now. New Zealand, of course, not going so well because they didn't have a good first lap, although with the odd few cars that have just dropped out, they have gained a bit. They're up to 8th because of several other cars having problems, and Johnny Reid is back in the points here.
Trying to solve the problem about Ireland, we didn't know what happened to Ireland. All I can imagine is that with Ireland running 18th and effectively last, and USA 17th, one pace ahead, USA started in 10th place, Ireland started in 13th, and all I can assume is somewhere down the line, those two cars must have come into contact. They must have had to make a pit stop when all this other melee was going on around the circuit.
Right, ready to go racing once again, and France is the pace setter. Germany going to try and make it a big challenge into this little sequence of corners, but Loic Duval gets on it very, very quickly. 3rd place Netherlands under a bit of pressure from Portugal, although João Urbano now under pressure from Canada, in fact, for 4th place. This could be interesting down towards turn 1. No change between the top two. France lead from Germany, and everybody else slotting into position pretty much. I don't think anybody's gone for the big move this time.
No, I think the lessons have been learned. Everybody much better behaved, and the realization is that 46 laps to go is a very long way in this race, and a number of drivers have been impatient, thrown it away unnecessarily, and the opportunity here is this is a race where it is possible for the drivers of the nations that are not necessarily those that are likely to win, but to pick up the points for 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th.
6 laps have been completed. We're only 2 laps away from the first pit stop window opening up, so that's going to make life interesting as well. And Johnny Reid for New Zealand, now he finds himself in 8th place despite that fairly disastrous opening lap where presumably he was getting out of the way of cars that were involved in incidents. Look at that, it's a great shot. Oh, Ireland sideways through turn 9.
You see the Ireland car, it ratchets its way round turn 9. More aggressive than other cars we've seen. France has always been particularly good through turn 9. The car rides those bumps better pretty much than anybody else out there.
So up front, still no problem for France, but look how Germany's staying with France. I think Duval expected to be able to ease away, and he's not doing it. He's not getting away from Germany, who's been so quick. Christian Vittorius, the youngster, going well, and now look at Johnny Reid of New Zealand putting the pressure on Brazil's Sergio Jimenez.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of pressure coming. Oh, the Brazil car gets wide on the exit of turn 14, going to give New Zealand a chance to slot down the inside. They just sweep across the bar of the New Zealand car, but that was pressure. Now he runs wide in the exit of 2, but Johnny Reid, New Zealand, can't get that job done.
Well, Jimenez was certainly pretty violent in his attempt to trot across in front of New Zealand, but it was just about fair enough. but he's got to be careful, he's got to behave himself, and Black Beauty right behind there, trying to pick up another place after the victory earlier today. Johnny Reed's fired up to try and do the double, but from here it's going to be tough to do that. Behind there's a bit of a lock up there from Mexico, and Pakistan nearly ran into the back of them. Mexico running in 10th place at the moment, I believe, just ahead of Pakistan.
They were headshot looking out of 8 into turn 9. The bumps on the middle of the corner, run wide in the exit, you catch the curb into the dust. So New Zealand once again beginning the process, trying to run down. The car just ahead, that's the Brazil car, looks up the inside, gets the job done.
Wow.
Sweeps round the apex of the corner and takes the advantage away from Brazil. New Zealand up to 7th, Brazil down to 8th.
Great move from Johnny Reed. It is possible to overtake when you're determined and committed, and that was a good move from Johnny Reed. Right, that's one more down. He's got to keep attacking here in the early stages of this race, and with pit stops coming up soon as well. You're on board with Brazil, just been passed by New Zealand, and now Malaysia are the one tucking into the mirrors of the Brazilian car, not quite close enough. Then it's Mexico running very well in the hands of David Garza, and there you are, as a replay of how New Zealand managed it.
And an absolute textbook overtake, prompted by an error from Brazil, just too wide in the middle of turn 11, allows the New Zealand car to get through. You can see that the New Zealand car hugged the whole way around the corner and put himself in.
Malaysia's had a spin at turn 1. Alex Young rejoins, having lost a lot of time, and he's right at the back again, would you believe it? Malaysia's luck doesn't get any better. Don't know what happened, whether there was a mistake or not, but New Zealand are on a bit of a charge here. Now they've got to go chasing after South Africa, and as we've seen today already, South Africa's struggling a little bit on the brakes. That'll give Johnny the confidence to go chasing after him. France lead the race though, and the pit stops are being prepared, John. Their French team's out in the pit lane. They're getting ready to receive Loic Duval.
This is coming up, we're on the 8th lap, so when he comes into the pit lane area, he will be allowed to make that pit stop. So France, the first, I don't know if they're the only, but certainly the first taking advantage. I'm not quite sure why they needed to do that. They've got control of the race. There was no necessity for them to make that pit stop quite so early, but he's in, and this is Germany.
Yeah, this is going to be the battle between the teams then in the pit lane. France into the pit lane, Germany right behind. So it's now down to the two crews to see which of these emerges first and which will be the first car after the first round of pit stops.
You have to believe this was the strategy placed on either team. If they were leading the other, just shadow it, come into the pit. France much further on the pit lane, Germany on the car, up the jacks, wheels on. Same for France.
And Germany's on the way. Germany's underway already. France is still finishing off their pit stop. Are they going to get out in front? I think Germany's going to take the advantage. France has a problem, and Germany...
the Czech car just goes across the nose of the French car. So a further penalty for France, unintentional, but that's what happens. That slower pit stop. Now, we heard Loic Duval say, we don't need to make record-breaking pit stops. Well, that one was maybe one of the poorer ones we've seen from France. A problem for Australia getting that car back. Look at the side of the bodywork. That was the consequence of the attack on Team Australia by India in the opening lap. They're minus, what, 2 square feet of bodywork on the left-hand side. Here's what happens. This is the French car's about to go. Czech car pulls across the front, and that's that lack of cooperation between the two teams, and that could have been the end of both teams had Loic Duval not had the presence of mind to get out of it and brake.
Yeah, good awareness by Duval, wasn't it, to sort that out. The Dutch car leads this race. The Netherlands into the pits, though, he comes now. So he leads it only for one lap, followed by Portugal, Canada and South Africa. So all the other group that were running in the top 6 are now making their pit stops.
And it's significant that New Zealand didn't come in. They've gone one more lap. They were running behind South Africa. So now Johnny Reed has got a lot of clear air. He's got the best part of, well, certainly a third of the racetrack to get the hammer down. He's got to come in between laps 8 and 16, but watch for stunning lap times from New Zealand. Johnny Reed, this is the opportunity that he needs to take advantage of the fact that all the difficulties that he had in the opening lap, he can now overcome.
The Dutch car retains its advantage over these others, although Canada, they're now ahead of Portugal. Portugal's lost a place. South Africa rejoins pretty much where it was. 32 seconds for Canada. That's one of the quickest stops there. That almost matches the time that Germany did. They had a brilliant stop. Brazil have had a fantastic stop as well.
Yes, just a tenth of a second in it, and a little bit of a lock-up for Christian Vitoris and Team Germany.
What a stop that was by their guys.
Well, they did well, that's what was a normal pit stop should be. Down into turn 7, gets the car into the corner.
So New Zealand now leads the race ahead of Mexico, Pakistan and Indonesia, and then Switzerland and the United States. None of those guys have made their first pit stop yet. They still have a number of laps in which they're allowed to do that. So New Zealand currently the race leader, but of those cars that have stopped, there's no doubt that it's Germany. Oh, and Australia being pushed back into the pit garage. Looks as though it's all over for the nation that will be hosting the next round of A1GP.
Well, Johnny Reid's lap, that last lap, a little bit slower, 1 minute 18.1. Now, I don't know where he lost all that time because he had clear air for the first time since the start of the feature race. Fastest lap still to France, 1 minute 16.7. Pretty much everybody running in the 1 minute 17.6s, so the best of the rubber clearly has gone, and it will be now an eye, keep an eye on those that have made that pit stop, Germany in particular, France and others, to see what their lap, 15.897, Germany now fastest lap on fresh rubber.
I'm just looking at the Switzerland in the pits. Look at USA, they have been shown as having made a pit stop, John. They are ahead of Germany. Is that possible? How does that work?
I don't know. I can't work it out at all. But let wait and see when the whole thing cycles itself through. Sometimes it takes a lap beyond where we are watching from. So Brazil and Portugal currently under investigation by the race stewards.
Well, we'll have to keep an eye on that, but Team USA being shown as having made a pit stop. We didn't see the pit stop itself. Whether he had an earlier problem and had to do a little drive-through.
Well, he did, I think, because he was running, remember, I think he and Ireland might have gotten together.
Right, okay.
And somewhere down the line, I think that was maybe where the pit stop came from. Currently, we're waiting to see what New Zealand's going to do. It's going to be very soon before they come across. He's in the pits. Well, maybe they've decided the lap time isn't there on this set of tyres. We've seen the pace of Germany on a fresh set of rubber. So bring Reid in, bring New Zealand team in, get new tyres on, give him an opportunity to get himself back up. Maybe a mirror of what we could expect from the sprint race.
Another crucial stop coming up for the crews here. Mexico also in around the same time, so are Pakistan and Indonesia. New Zealand away. Let's see what the total time is, but we'll only see when the clock stops at the end of the pit lane. He's about halfway down the pit lane, so it seems like an age at that 60 km/h speed limit all the way down. Wait till he gets to the line. What's the time going to be? It's not quite as quick as Germany's, but not far off. 33.5 seconds, one of the quicker, but not the quickest stop.
And he gets in just ahead of Brazil as Brazil goes into turn one. So Johnny Reid got one car that he had to pass on the racetrack behind him. He's now facing again the South Africa car. The South Africa car directly ahead of him with Portugal, Canada, and then Netherlands.
So at the moment the United States leading this race, but we think they're going to have to make their pit stop. We think they had a pit stop earlier, but that was for damage. So there's Jonathan Somerton absolutely flying. He is going quickly. He's doing quick lap times at the moment, is Jonathan Somerton, but not quite as quick as some of the guys who stopped. And at the moment it looks like the likes of Germany and France are still setting the outright pace.
Well, America are staying out. They've chosen to do so. The difficulty is that while he's got clear air, and that's ideal for a driver to get on and do the job, he done a 1:16.8. But remember that the new set of tyres is going to give you probably the best part of a second for up to about 2 to 3 laps before once again everything settles down. But they're taking advantage of it. We're on lap 4 going to 14. So he's going to be coming in within this lap or the next lap.
John Martin in the pits for Australia. I think that's the result of the damage between him and India at the beginning of the race. Netherlands ahead of Canada. They're running 4th and 5th. 6th Portugal. 7th there is South Africa. It could become 6th when the United States make their stop. So South Africa are in the top 10 clearly, and useful chance of scoring points. No mistakes so far from João Urbano of Portugal. He knows he needs a good solid event this time, and so far so good from him.
Well, that certainly was a good start. I was concerned that his slightly out of position, grid position, he might get overexcited and be over rash. But he's done a sound, strong job, and he's keeping that car in contact with South Africa behind and Canada just ahead.
A couple of cars further back that are interesting to watch. The Swiss and Irish cars are tucked in behind Pakistan at the moment. Both are very quick cars. Both have had problems, of course. Pakistan's running in 11th place, but Adam is always one of the most difficult guys to get past. He'll fight for every inch, and it's going to be up to Neil Yarni and Adam Carroll to fight a way through.
It certainly will be, and we know that Adam Khan in that Pakistan car very, very late on the brakes, able to brake as late as anybody, and takes away any opportunity or advantage. Not necessarily quick in the corner, and that then slows down the momentum of those behind, and that seesaw effect, which is so frustrating for the quicker car. It's up to you to make your best of what you got.
Just heard that they've looked at that jump start again, and what we couldn't see from that long shot was the wheels were definitely spinning before the lights went out. So they've rechecked that. Our long shot on the camera did say you had to be a bit careful looking at it, and from the other angle as well, they could see the wheels were spinning. So Swiss were done fairly, and there is Switzerland tucked in behind Pakistan with Ireland just behind.
Well, this is the last thing that either Switzerland or Ireland would want, because they know that they've got a car and they're capable of driving quicker than Adam Khan in the Pakistan car, but this is all legitimate. Pakistan in 11th place on merit. They've not made mistakes. They've not jumped the start. They're there, and they're not going to give it up.
Absolutely right, and it's going to be tough for these guys to get through. Riding on board with Adam Carroll of Team Ireland. And Pakistan a little wide on that corner. That might give Neil Yarni. No, doesn't quite give him a chance to nip through. There is Yarni in the white, blue and red Swiss car. The car that has been so strong all season, but what a horrible weekend he's having here.
Well, he's got to be very careful because he'd get too close to the rear of the Pakistan car. Adam Khan keeps the car to the left of the track, defends the entry into turn 11. Not able to do Switzerland what we saw earlier, getting under. That was getting under the wing of the Brazil car. And that was, of course, Johnny Reid for New Zealand.
Yes, indeed, and well, he's got to try his hardest. Pakistan.
Oh, he's moving. Be careful. He doesn't start going from one side to the other. He's committed himself to stay on the left-hand side, side by side in turn 12.
Oh, and he's had to go across the grass.
Watch Adam Carroll takes that position away. Damaged wing. Switzerland's wing, I think, has been damaged as he went over the grass on the inside of the corner.
It just gets worse for Switzerland, yet the front wing is jammed under his car, and that's his front.
What a big lock-up, and Adam Khan gets it wrong. Adam Carroll, the beneficiary, and in the space of two corners, two cars have got into the problem.
Oh, he's rejoined right in front of everybody. Adam, what are you doing?
Well, he just drove across the racetrack. He doesn't care that Canada's coming through. That's Canada's problem. But there's Switzerland, the wing, absolutely. And now he can barely steer the car because that front wing is jamming under the right front wheel, and it's shredding that right front tyre.
Well, he had to go for it. He couldn't afford to be stuck behind Pakistan for long. He went for the move around the outside, but they ran out of space. He went across the grass. There goes the wing at last. At least he's unjammed. But let's take a look at this again, John.
Well, side by side, but of course there's no space for two cars. And all he could do, and what he should have done, is lift off. Once he found himself in that position, it was absolutely, he was in the wrong part of the track at the wrong time. And Adam Khan fully entitled. He was ahead, half a car's length ahead, and there was the contact that ended the race for Switzerland.
Pakistan may well have had a punctured tyre out of that. That could have caused him to go off at the next corner, actually, because there was certainly, it was the wing end plate that hit the back of the Pakistan car. What was the reaction from Max Velti? A little shake of the head, that was all it was.
I mean, can it get bad? And no, it's only gotten worse for Switzerland.
It's unbelievable. USA have now made their stop, as we thought they had been in earlier, with a problem, so that was now their official stop that's been made.
And once again, these two countries, America and Ireland, find themselves back on the racetrack, running nose to tail. Adam Carroll got the momentum. He wants to find a way past USA as quickly as possible, and as each corner passes, it's going to become more difficult. Once Jonathan Summerton gets the feel of this new set of tyres, gets the speed back up to where it's been, it'll find Adam Carroll will put pressure as Switzerland comes in, and they're the nose. They're going to take it off. There's still a long way to go. 36 laps of this race, a physically tough race and a long race in terms of lap time.
Yeah, it's worth sending him back out. There's always a fastest lap to go for, the point for that. But it's being a bit of a nightmare for them. First time that Neil Yarni's been to Taupo. He didn't race for Swiss team last year. It was Sebastian Buemi. Race leader, meanwhile, just crosses the line on the other side of that pit wall. It's Germany leading from France, so he's a lap down now. He is a lap behind the race leaders on the speed limiter to the end of the pit lane. And now Neil Yarni rejoins, so he's been lapped also by the Netherlands running third and Canada running fourth. And I tell you what, that's a good little battle between Netherlands and Canada for third position at the moment. We'll keep an eye on it. Here's what happened to Pakistan. He may already have picked up a puncture, I don't know.
It's difficult to tell because it would have been the right rear tyre that was punctured. So there, I think it was just too late on the brakes.
Yeah.
Hard to tell from that picture, just not getting a clear enough view of it. But all to the benefit of Ireland, they get through relatively trouble-free. In the meantime, back to Germany, leading now by 1.1 seconds from France in second, and Netherlands a further 4.6 seconds behind France.
So let's quickly run you through the order with all the first stops having been made. It's Germany leading, there you are, France in second place, then quite a gap back to the Netherlands in third, Canada in a fighting fourth, then Portugal in fifth, South Africa sixth, New Zealand in seventh place, then it's Brazil in a strong eighth, China have come up to ninth. That's good effort from China because they were back in 18th place on the grid. They've picked up places, others have had problems. The USA now in 10th, so having stayed out there, they got out in front of Ireland. That's crucial for Jonathan Summerton. Now in 10th, Ireland 11th, Mexico 12th, then it's the Czech Republic, Indonesia, Pakistan and Malaysia. Those guys all still running. Switzerland now right at the back in 17th place, a lap down on the leaders, and then I think the others all out. Australia, Great Britain, Italy, Lebanon and India all out of this race. Well, still a long way to go in the race, but Germany so far looking strong. Christian Vittorius, but he cannot escape the clutches of Team France's Loic Duval, and we could be on for a new winner here today, John. Neither of these guys have ever won a race in A1GP.
No, in part it's going to come down to stamina, in part it's going to come down to how well they're set up of both these cars are, and basically both of them are pretty much as good as you can get. The suspicion is that Loic Duval has got the slightly better car of the two over the bumps, and that's through turn 9, and that's where it's noticeable. All that impact on drivers' fitness and drivers' stamina, and I would imagine Loic Duval, he's a more experienced driver, he's driven longer races than Christian Vitoris. In that respect, it might favour him. The fact is, he's got to find a way past Germany to take the lead of the race.
We're on board with Team Canada's Rob Wickens there, and he's driving a beautiful race at the moment, sitting there in 4th position. He's got to see if he can just keep the pressure on Jeroen Bleekemolen, who's a very solid driver himself. But remember, Rob Wickens, only 18-year-old from Toronto, burst onto this A1GP scene with a podium finish in his first race in Malaysia after he qualified in 5th. It really was a stunning debut. He's been pretty strong in the few races that he's done already, but he's got another great chance here today of maybe scoring another podium finish for Team Canada. Meanwhile, South Africa has been caught by New Zealand. This is the race for 6th place. Johnny Reid in a car that's working beautifully, but he's lost out a bit in the early stages of this race. Now he's closed up to South Africa, and now he's got to see if he can work out a way of getting past him.
Well, never the easiest car again to pass in the circuit. Adrian Zaug, very accustomed to being able to defend his position, not always having the fastest car, but knowing how to use that car effectively. But that battle is closing down. It's now to just over half a second. So Christian Vitoris coming under more pressure. Coming up to turn 11. The line into the corner. France holds a slightly tighter line in the middle. Then Germany's able to get back. So probably quicker for France entering the corner. Germany maybe marginally quicker off the corner.
Great lap that from Duval last time around, a 1:16.5 as opposed to a 1:16.9 from Vitoris. Whether he made a tiny little lock-up somewhere, I don't know, but it definitely allowed Frenchman to close up. Yes, and as you say, John, he's applying pressure, isn't he?
Yes, he is. Christian Vitoris leading this race on merit, running strongly in the lead, but he's seen the lead evaporate. A further 1/10 of a second shaved off that advantage by Loic Duval for France, but behind them, Netherlands pretty much keeping station, running very much a similar sort of pace in 3rd place, and Canada just half a second behind the Netherlands for 4th.
Yeah, this is the battle between Netherlands and Canada. Rob Wickens, he's tight, able to get pretty close to the back of the Dutch car, but as yet not close enough to put in any kind of challenge. Just a little bit further back, just looking down the order, I noticed that Indonesia just went past the Czech Republic in a private little battle that's going on for 13th, but this is the interesting one for 3rd place.
Just keep an eye on the hands of Rob Wickens. You can see how much feedback's coming through the steering wheel. He's also got a taped up steering wheel just to give him that slightly thicker grip on that wheel, just take it a little bit easier through here. Turn 9, look at the work that goes on. That's a lot of physical work, and the bumps, their vertical impact. Now, again, France right on the gearbox of Germany coming out of turn 11.
Yeah, that's where he really applies the pressure. He says, look how close I can get to you here. And a driver loves to be in that situation. And it's fascinating seesaw battle between these two. In the first stint, France led. He's beginning to just move around. That wasn't an attempt to overtake, it was an attempt to unsettle Vitoris.
Yeah, and also you could see Vitoris just pulling slightly more to the middle of the road before he got to the corner, just sending out a message, I'm not going to give you the opportunity. But of course that signals to me that in fact Germany are responding to the pressure that France is applying.
Indeed, and that's what it's all about, just keep the pressure on. So Rob Creswell there, race engineer for Christian Vitoris, the man who took Nico Hulkenberg to the title, Germany to the title in last year's series. Germany took 2 wins here at Taupo last year. They would love to take another victory. Michael Ammermuller won for them in China last time out, and now they've got another real hot shot on their hands. He was impressive when he made his debut last year, but didn't race quite so well initially. Now he's proving that he can race hard.
Something for our viewers at home to keep an eye on, particularly coming out of that turn 7. Watch the position of the head of the Germany car and of the France car, because I suspect as this race progresses, we've some 22 laps now into the race, because that will be an indication if fatigue is setting in for either of these two drivers. They're pushing to the limit of their natural ability. They're 1 minute 16.8 for Germany, 16.7 for France, gap 0.472 of a second. So the pressure constant to Germany.
Yeah, and you'd have to say that Duval would be favoured there, John. He's done a lot of A1GP races.
He's been for Indonesia.
Well, just after he'd managed to get past the Czech Republic as well, and now he's lost it. But yeah,
well, in fact, there's 3 cars involved: Czech Republic and Malaysia and Indonesia.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't quite know what went on there, but he's well off in the scoria, that's called it, rather than gravel. It is actually a volcanic material that they use as the gravel trap here in New Zealand, and it's slowed him down pretty effectively. And
Australia's gone off in the same corner.
I didn't even know he was back out, to be honest, because he was in the pits for a long time.
One wonders, is there something down there in the circuit that we're not aware of, because 3 cars
4 cars now in one corner, and again Marshall's running wave flags before you get down to turn 7, so you're required, again, one of those cars, I can't think of, was France, actually, oh, again, watch it, look at this, there is something on the racetrack down there, because Germany and France going through the corner got into big time trouble. And now cars, I think that might well be Canada coming back onto the track as well.
I think the Australian car's blown its engine and he's deposited a load of oil down there.
Something down there, I think you're right, it is either water and or oil, because people that have followed through have been absolutely caught unawares.
My goodness, the leaders did well to get through there, because I'm just looking how slow New Zealand went through there. Safety car is on track. Oh, it's all happening here, isn't it?
We've only got a waved yellow flag. We need to see a banded yellow and red flag indicating something on the track.
And I tell you what, Canada has, I think, got ahead of the Netherlands in all this. I'm just looking now. Well, I don't know where the Netherlands is. I think they may have got caught out on that oil. Canada's third now, John. Canada's there in third place.
Oh, catch your breath. I mean,
there's Portugal now in fourth, and Netherlands, he must have got caught up on the oil. He's dropped down.
He was one of the cars that did get caught up. Here, let's look and see Satru Armanta. That's the car that seemingly started the whole issue. Spins in the middle of the track now. Does somebody clip it and damage a radiator? He's off. He's all right. Malaysia's gone through. He comes. No, he doesn't come back onto the racetrack quite yet. He's all on his own. But somewhere down there we saw incident. There's the consequence. That was a little bit later. There's the oil. That was the spin that we saw from the Netherlands. And the car then just blinded by the dust.
My goodness. Just get a bit offline and you would know where. And there's certainly something down, as you said, on that track. And opportunities here for others to take advantage. And that's what Canada has certainly done. But Australia, I'm afraid it's all over. Oh, he's been told to get back in the car, I think.
Well, he's getting back in the car, but who put the fluid down?
Yeah, that's the question. I'm not sure it was him, actually, because they were already spinning.
They were spinning here
before he got there.
We saw 3 cars. There was Indonesia, Malaysia and another car, and then the Australia car came round.
Yeah.
And then it all went absolutely ballistic.
So where did the fluid or whatever it is come from? That is still the big question.
Germany and France were almost equally caught out in that particular moment down in turn 7.
Let's get some news from the pit lane. Simon has news on Australia. Simon.
I just had a chat with the guys on the Australia pit with Rob Arnott and the rest of the guys. Apparently it was an oil, and it certainly didn't come from the Australian car. Basically, John Martin radioed and said he came through the corner immediately after those guys had spun, and he said it was just like being on the beach. There was just sand and muck everywhere, so that's what called him out.
Right, okay, well that makes sense. I suppose if there was that much dust around, we know how slippery the track got yesterday when the dust was being blown around by the wind. Maybe it was that simple.
Well, I mean, certainly if that was what it was, we couldn't see that the track looked that dirty. But the dust is so fine, it's like it is volcanic ash, in effect, it's pumice stone, and it's like powder. It is so fine. But if it's on the track as a fine layer on the track, and you the first, second car down, well, you've lost contact with the racetrack. You're just simply driving on that very, very fine powder.
So, what's happening? We've got the safety car out. There's Australia rejoining with that bit of bodywork still dangling away on the left-hand side. That was still a result of the earlier incident with India. Czech Republic's coming in again. I wonder if they're going to be able to send him on his way. He's been really struggling. The car doesn't look as though it's handling particularly well. Puncture by the look of it, because they're just changing the one wheel, so he's picked up a left rear puncture and he's going to go back on his way again. He's pretty much towards the back of the field, but he ain't going to give up. So it's Germany that currently leads this race behind the safety car. France, of course, were harrying them all the way until the safety car came out. There was no gap between them really, and look at between them now. Then it's Canada third. We've got the Swiss car up there on the road, but that's because he's been lapped, so don't worry about the Swiss car in terms of position. We're looking at top speeds on your graph at the moment, so that's not the race positions, that's top speeds, and actually Ireland have the highest top speed in this race so far, as Indonesia's car gets pushed away. What happened when Australia got pushed started here? Was there a little bit of a problem?
I suspect there's a load of gravel somewhere in the bottom of the car. And there they go. There you can see the stuff being. You look at it. Now he's just put down as much of the stuff that he actually found when he came down to that corner in the first place. So fortunately, everybody running behind the safety car. We're waiting to see when the safety car light is going to be. It's going to be put out. We've got a clear track down at turn 7.
Now, I don't know quite why
lights are still on the safety car.
Switzerland has moved to the head of the queue, which I don't quite understand. I know he's been lapped and all that, but I don't quite understand why he's gone to the head of the queue. Normally he would sort of hold
has he
position.
Been waved through?
He may have been, yeah. He's been waved now, yeah. He's been waved past the safety car. That's interesting. So
no, he's not. He's going to stay out. So he's been waved through, and he's now got the opportunity to run on his own and do the best he can to catch up to the tail of this crocodile of cars. And safety car continues one more lap. 3 safety car interventions so far in this race, and we're only on lap 20, going on to lap 25.
New Zealand there moving around. New Zealand currently running in 7th place, still a great shot at scoring useful points, and with big rival Switzerland in so much trouble in this race, they can still perhaps grab the series lead, but that could go to France with the way that France are going here today.
But you know, all these safety car interventions have been a real blessing in disguise for most of the field. If they had a 52 race, a lap race without any intervention, just the pit stops for wheels and tires, as Australia comes in, and they're going to go back out again. But it's giving all these drivers the opportunity to catch their breath, to recover, and once the safety car goes back in, then they were going to be at least capable of pushing hard for another series of laps.
Indeed, yes, it does give them a bit of a break. There we are watching them through the infield section. Brazil still in there. China up to 9th now as a result of all the problems for other people. So Frankie Cheng is keeping his head when others are losing theirs. And he's up into 9th place, back into the points again. That'll be the Chinese team after that fantastic 3rd place they achieved in the first of the 2 races at Zhuhai a few weeks ago. But up front, there's no doubt there's going to be a tremendous battle between these two. Germany and France. There's been little to choose between them so far in terms of outright pace, and it's going to be a real battle to the end, I think, to see which one of them comes through to take their first win. Of course, let's not forget that now Canada have had the chance to close up, and Rob Wickens might join in the fun and games himself.
Well, lights are still flashing on the safety car, and to me the racetrack appears to be ready to go motor racing on. We've still got Neil Yarney. He's about a third of the way round. The racetrack's trying to catch up to the tail of this group of cars. Safety car remains on track for one more lap.
Indeed, so it's taking a little bit of time to get everything sorted out.
I don't honestly understand why, because the Indonesia car is way in the infield. It's a totally safe place. The track appears to be clear. There's no reason why the safety car couldn't have been brought back in at the end of the last lap. That was lap 25, but obviously there's things going on that we don't know about. Maybe they want to get all the marshals that were involved in the removal of these cars back to their designated stations.
The graphic you're looking at shows how many power boosts are still available to the nations, and there's still quite a few for most, actually. They have up to 8 to use in this feature race, and a number of nations still have quite a few power boosts available to them. Each time they use that, it's an extra 30 brake horsepower. Very useful down the long straight here at Taupo, but they're saving it up, obviously. And I was just looking at the point situation. If they were to finish pretty much where they are now, then France would take the lead in the series, but New Zealand can do something about that. If Johnny Reid can pick off a few more places here before the end of the race, then it could be that France and New Zealand will be virtually tied together with Switzerland close behind. We'd have a 3-way battle going on to the next stage of the championship.
Well, we're exactly at half distance in this 52-lap race. There's been packs of incidents throughout it, and we've still got a long way to go, and we've lost the best part of 6 cars out of this 22-car field. So there's a lot more space on the racetrack. Not to say it's not going to be further incident, but keep an eye on that battle going on between South Africa in 6th, New Zealand in 7th. That's going to be the focal point. The lights are out on the safety car.
Ready to go racing. Once again, it's Germany, France and Canada. Canada's going to have to get on with it here, get a bit closer to keep them under pressure. They all bunch up. Ooh, careful boys, they've all bunched up too much. Ooh.
Well, Germany slowed them down, deliberately slowed them down, then accelerates, trying to catch everybody on the brake while he's on the throttle. I think Loic Duval and Rob Wickens were up for that one.
Yes, indeed, but everybody else behind got a little caught out. Meanwhile, Switzerland, of course, have been waved through, so they're back on the lead lap. Germany with France right behind, and you can just see there the Netherlands maybe trying to make a move, but everyone, I think, is just going to settle into position here and try and look for any advantage. Germany from France. You're on board 3rd place, Canada. Rob Wickens, the 18-year-old, keeping a close eye on them. Then João Urbano of Portugal, then the Netherlands of Jeroen Bleekemolen. USA and Ireland still very close together on track, of course, and they're battling for what is effectively the final point.
New Zealand trying to get really close through turn 5, running down the back of the South Africa car into turn 7. That was the bogey corner that caught everybody unawares, but up front it's France now right under the rear wing going into turn 9, trying to get a run up into turn 11 under brakes. We saw some overtaking there in the sprint race.
Very quick here is Loic Duval up into this top corner that leads on to the longest straight. Look at him under braking, he's so fast.
Runs wide.
Could be a chance for Canada, but he doesn't run that wide. He keeps it under control, and so it's still Germany in front. You're looking back from the race leader. On the power boost is Portugal, who's a little at the back of this group. He's in 4th place, but he's the one of those, and South Africa and New Zealand fighting for position. They're both on the power boost, and I think
New Zealand down the inside. He's taken the position away from South Africa. New Zealand up to 6th.
Fantastic move by Johnny Reid. Almost had to think about getting past the Netherlands as well. That would have been foolish, and he's backed out of that, but let's see how he did it.
Well, he did it here because it was all done essentially in turn 11. In fact, he got ahead in turn 11, and well, how come?
Don't know.
Maybe the camera angles were foreshortening what took place, but certainly that pass took place up on turn 11, not in fact as it appeared on screen down into turn 12.
Well, he was certainly having a go at getting past the Dutch car as well, but it didn't quite happen for him. So it's Germany, France, Canada, then the Portugal running absolutely at their best of the season so far. João Urbano, who is coming to the series relatively inexperienced compared to many of the others. He's raced in Formula BMW in both the UK and Germany, but a much lesser powered car than one of these A1GP machines. But today he's getting it together, but watch him for mental and physical strength. He has made some mistakes in the races in the latter part, so this time he's going to want to try and redress that and keep the pressure on Canada in particular.
Germany can hold a much tighter line through turn 11. France comes in early, goes out, then comes back in again, and it's all about speed off this corner. Now under the rear wing of Germany, France using a sure power boost. It is, goes out to the right, tries to go the long way round. No way this time. Germany's got the corner, France has got to withdraw.
Vittorius is having to withstand so much pressure. So far so good, he's not put a wheel wrong, but can he do this with 24 laps to go and another pit stop, remember? And the French team will be desperate to try and make up for what was a slightly slower pit stop on the first round. Canada's just dropped back a couple of car lengths, can't quite maintain the same pace as these top two nations, which, to be fair, John, have been fast throughout all of the practice sessions this weekend.
And in a moment, for us to catch our breath, Switzerland and Portugal are now under investigation.
Yeah, I don't know what that one's all about, but no doubt we'll find out later on. So this is the lead situation, and everybody's not quite sure what's going to happen. Still another pit stop to come. We've completed 29 laps, and the pit stop window will reopen on lap 34, so there's still a few laps to go here before the crews get their chance to influence the race further.
So there's the overhead shot looking at turn 9. Again, France. I think France's car is still showing that it's easier to drive. It's a little bit quicker through that turn 9, up into turn 11 now. France runs down Germany, but Germany holds that very, very tight line, which seems to give it the advantage when it comes to the acceleration off the corner. France can close up into it and mid-corner, but doesn't get it on the end of the corner.
That's right, flashing past all the fans down there on that long straight into turn 12. This slightly revised corner, the car's weaving under heavy braking there, not weaving as much as we saw on Friday practice. We've hardly ever seen so many cars spin off the road in dry conditions in the past, but today they're settling down. There've been a lot of incidents early in the race. Now it seems to have just settled down. There's a bit more rhythm to this race now. There's Portugal running in 4th place, Netherlands in 5th, and the Netherlands are the next ones to watch out, because Johnny Reid of New Zealand is beginning to fill the mirrors.
Yes, so Johnny Reid obviously aware that the mistake, whatever occurred on the first lap, where he dropped all the way down from 5th place outside the top 10, and he's been battling all day to get himself back up, to put himself in the position to get back on the podium. He enjoyed that success in the sprint race, an easy race for Team New Zealand, but here a much more difficult, and this will really be a great day for Johnny Reid if he can get himself onto the podium. Even if it's only 3rd, he'll be more than happy.
Well, where he is now, having gained that one extra place, he would now be tied with Switzerland in 2nd place in the points if France stays where they are. So each and every point that he can make up here today could make a huge difference. Look how close he gets.
Yes, again, a similar line in the corner to France. Comes in early, lets it drift out, then back in again. Try and get under the rear wing of the Netherlands car. Netherlands goes to the left to defend. Watch the bumps in the middle of the track now. Watch for Johnny Reid. He's going to go down the outside. It's the wrong part of the track, but he's just keeping the pressure on the Netherlands. Almost side by side into turn 12. He backs out of it wisely too.
Solid defence from Jeroen Bleekemolen, and he's not going to be phased. He's not going to brake too late and make the mistake that Johnny Reid's looking for, not yet anyway. And neat, tidy driver is Bleekemolen. You don't often see him make rash mistakes, just very occasionally, but he will know how fast Reid is, and when you've got the guy who won the race earlier in the day shadowing you, you've always got to be absolutely on top of your game, and Bleekemolen will be totally aware of that. Johnny Reid, though, all he's got to do is try and push forwards, try and look for any advantage he can, try and use any knowledge, any extra knowledge he can think of at this circuit to gain the edge here through turn 7, accelerating hard through the next fast sequence, through the flat-out left-hander where the physical loads really build up.
So come out of turn 8, then the cut back over the bumps through turn 9. Johnny Reid running in 6th place, looking to take that 5th place away from the Netherlands. Sometimes it's better just to drop back a little bit, pick up your momentum and make a charge up. Now there's certain parts of a racetrack where one driver will show an advantage over somebody else. A lot of it could be up in turn 11, a lot of it might come down in the terms of straight line speed and certainly under braking into turn 12. More difficult to do it into turn 12, ironically, I think, than it is into turn 11.
No change amongst the front runners then. At the moment it's still Germany from France in 2nd place, and then Canada with Rob Wickens holding on to that position at the moment. Then the slight gap back to a very impressive João Urbano of Portugal, the Netherlands then, New Zealand, South Africa, Brazil. So Brazil inside. And they've got another drive-through penalty, John, being announced, and this time again for Switzerland. And it was for overtaking under safety car. I did wonder why he was moving to the head of that queue, or maybe it was he overtook another car under safety car that he shouldn't have done.
It's hard to tell because we weren't really watching where Switzerland was when the safety car was still on track. I'm not sure he even caught up to the safety car before it was removed from the circuit. Whatever it is, he's also got to go once again in the pit lane. I think it's his 4th visit in the pit lane this afternoon.
Really no chance, I think, of Switzerland scoring any points here today, not with another drive-through penalty. So that's the way it goes sometimes, and he's going to have to just lick his wounds, go away and think about it for the next race at Eastern Creek in Sydney. Just 2 weeks' time, they'll all be hard at it again in Sydney, in Australia. What a fantastic show they've been putting on here so far in New Zealand. No difference really between Germany and France. I wouldn't like to call who's going to win this race at all. We've still got another pit stop to come, and the pit stop window will open in 2 laps time, so they now have really got to push. They'll both be under instructions. Give it everything you have here, guys, because we want to try and get a bit of an edge for the next pit stop, which is coming up pretty soon.
Well, it's really more about the character of Christian Vitoris than anything else. His physical conditioning, we know, is good. He's not as accustomed to running at this level, at this position. Loic Duval, much more experience, but it will be about character, and as long as he doesn't make a mistake, the onus will be on Loic Duval and for France to force the issue. France have been doing that pretty much all through this event, and Christian Vitoris for Germany has responded and not put a wheel wrong.
Absolutely not. Solid so far, and that's exactly what the team wanted to see from Vitoris. A bit of maturity after a couple of little rash mistakes in his early races for the nation, not getting off the line particularly well, those sort of little errors, but he's done it perfectly so far. There's still some way to go in the race.
Well, further down the field, we've actually seen an overtake. Ireland have found a way past Team USA. They're up now to 10th place in the points, and USA dropped down to 11th.
Right, well, that's a significant move then from Adam Carroll. Let's see if we can... Oh, it's a mistake.
That's why. Just too aggressive on the brakes, runs wide, gets into trouble, and that's... Well, just a very simple move into turn 1 allows the Irish car to take that position. Thank you very much, Jonathan Somerton. That's the thoughts, I suspect, of Adam Carroll. That's the easiest pass Adam Carroll's probably going to enjoy here this afternoon.
Top 3 seem even closer as they come over the line this time, because Canada's right up there with them too. There's Switzerland. I think we're still waiting for that drive-through penalty, aren't we?
He's coming in now.
So he's going to make the drive-through penalty now and drop himself right down to the very back again. What a frustrating day it is for Neil Yarni. It's been a day of a series of success for them so far, but certainly not this one. And the pit stop window's open. We're going to see pit stops next time around.
Interesting, we've now got 3 cars really covered by under a second. Canada's drawn itself up to the tail of France. Christian Vitoris, maybe he's beginning to feel the heat of the pressure, but it is Rob Wickens who's now going to focus on the back of the France car. France have been relatively lucky that they haven't had to worry about a car behind them. They now have that car, and it's Rob Wickens of Canada.
Now, John, it's going to be the battle of the pit crews once again. Germany won the first round.
Yes, Germany and France are prepared to come in at the end of this lap. Whether Canada will join them or not, or whether Rob Wickens will decide, maybe I can take advantage of the clear air. We saw that with Johnny Reid earlier. Stay out, get the benefit of that clear air, maybe get 1 or 2 laps in. Before then, he will be required also to make that mandatory stop.
Right, watch them. They're heading into the pits after this corner, and try and keep an eye on the 2 pit stops, see who has the advantage. I noticed that Germany, I was watching... Oh, and France stays out. That is interesting.
Well, France came out in the pit lane. Christian Vitoris kicks up the dust as he comes in, must slow down. Portugal are in as well, the Netherlands and New Zealand. And they're all pulling up, trying to avoid tipping into the back of one another.
Now Germany had a fantastic stop. Watch their technique if we can. Watch the front left wheel man. He'll throw the air gun to one of the guys who runs round from the back of the car. We change our shot now to look at Portugal as we.
And they're moving. Germany's moving. Comes out. Adam Khan for Pakistan allows Germany to come in ahead of it. New Zealand comes out as well. They've had a good pit stop.
Brilliant stop for New Zealand. They've done what they did in China.
France is in trouble.
New Zealand's got ahead of Portugal. That is a massively good stop from Team New Zealand.
I mean, France is out on the racetrack, not in trouble. That was them looking down. So good job for New Zealand and for Germany.
So as we said, they did that in China, did New Zealand, and they've done it again. Now the question is, where will it put them in with regard to France? I don't think Germany's stop was quite as quick that time as it was earlier. Unfortunately, we didn't have the clock running on that one, but France now leads with Canada second. Those guys have decided to stay out there on their older tyres. The thing is, the guys who are now on new tyres should have a little bit of an advantage. Let's see if France and Canada come in this time. I think he is. France heading into the pit lane. Yes, he is. Absolutely. Crucial stop then.
And Rob Wickens for Canada comes in directly behind.
The race deciding moments coming up here. We've got a drive-through penalty for Portugal. Portugal crossed the white line into the pits and they're going to throw away what could have been their best result in a long time. Canada in, France in, crucial stop here. Who's it going to be? Are they going to get out ahead of Germany? We'll watch to see where Germany is on track as well, John.
And watch Canada, it's just gone onto the pit lane, so they're coming down the pit lane, 60 kilometres per hour. France still working on the car. Canada, I think, is going to take a position. France is moving. We didn't see it. France has lost yet again a position. Canada has taken that away from France.
And here's Germany coming down the pit straight. Germany will retain the lead. Here comes Canada, who's got ahead of France, as you say. So Canada will effectively have taken second place. What a great stop from their crew.
So what a change of fortunes. Canada works their way up and after a great pit stop finds themselves in second place. And the battle with Brazil and China, and they're working themselves around with China showing 12th and Brazil in 5th, but that's only because of the pit stop.
And because of New Zealand's fantastic stop, New Zealand is now behind France, so they're effectively running in what is 4th place. So New Zealand have really gained from this round of pit stops, and it means with them only being 1 place behind France, New Zealand could take the championship lead here. So he might not win the race, but Johnny Reid could take the title lead for the host nation.
Well, the permutations that are available, and we're on lap 36. 16 laps of this race to go, and this race is far from over.
Look at the positions as they stand. This is because South Africa and Ireland and Malaysia have not yet stopped, but Germany then leading those that have stopped. Switzerland not counting in a way because they've still got to make their pit stop as well.
And we need cooperation from Switzerland from this point onwards. Brazil into the pits, or South Africa into the pits, because of course Neil Yanni not in the race. He needs to be aware that those cars that are battling for not just the podium here but for positions in the championship will look for cooperation from Neil Yanni.
South Africa on way once again. Malaysia too in the background there.
And they're going to come out, I think, in 5th place, just behind the New Zealand car.
Yeah, indeed. And he has rejoined.
So watch France. This is the problem that France had. That's just the end of the pit stop. And there you see,
Canada
that's the difference.
Through.
Canada just made it ahead.
Indeed, so disappointment for... You remember how fast the French used to be with their pit stops, John, in that first season of A1GP with Nicolas Lapierre and Alexander Premat. They won't like having... they seem to have the edge here today, didn't they?
Well, I think that's been the same, the development of A1GP. Everybody in every area of the race, be it pit stops, preparation, setup of the car, just the whole effort between year 1 and year 3 is transformed.
Well, Ireland lead this race at the moment. They haven't yet made their second pit stop. They've got a clear lead for the moment, but of course we've got to wait for them to come into the pit. So Adam Carroll's enjoying his time out in front.
And his lap times are good. He's running 1 minute 16.1. So the pace of the Ireland car is as quick as anything else out there. Fastest lap still to Germany at 1:15.8. So Adam Carroll basically getting caught in traffic from the beginning of this race. Now he's clear, capable of running quickly.
Battle here between Brazil and South Africa. Brazil slithering down the inside of South Africa. That is for position. China's tucked in there as well. And that was after the pit stop that South Africa made. And there's a smile on the face of Emerson Fittipaldi.
Well, nothing like a racing driver giving a thumbs up to another driver, particularly if he's racing for your nation. Great job by Sergio Jimenez.
You have to feel for Team Portugal though, John, because that drive-through penalty was simply for crossing the white line, I think, on the way into the pits. And Portugal were on for their best result in such a long time, and I can't believe it. He's now dropped pretty much to the back of the field.
Well, those are the little details a driver has to be aware of. There's no point saying, oh, sorry guys, I didn't know. I mean, that's part of the preparation, and it's a harsh penalty.
The people that have stopped. It is Germany that leads this race, with now up they're chasing after them Canada. We're riding on board with Team Canada here, but they're tucked in behind Switzerland. That's the problem Canada has. He's not able. There's Ireland now in from the lead.
And a new fastest race lap, and it's gone to Rob Wickens, and Canada 1 minute 15.843. Ireland in. They were running 1 minute 16.1, so they're running close to the pace of the fastest lap, and that was on old tires. Adam Carroll gets out. Good stop from Team Ireland.
I wonder where this is going to bring Ireland out. It'll be interesting. He may have gained a few places. He's really racing with the likes of Brazil and South Africa. Now, if he could get out in front of Brazil, that would be a huge achievement. I don't think he will quite do it. Let's watch.
Well, they're just coming down, start, finish straight now. We wait to see where Ireland blends in, just gets in ahead of Brazil. Yes, he does. So he's achieved a great score. Team Ireland running a little bit longer before that second mandatory pit stop has paid bonuses and puts Adam Carroll, well, he's going to put him up to 7th place.
But watch Sergio Jimenez, because when South Africa came out in front of him a lap ago, Jimenez used his tyres to great effect and actually got past, didn't he? So Adam Carroll has got to push here, and he is pushing. This is the experience of Adam Carroll. He knows that he has to push hard.
Oh, a little incident on Malaysia and Pakistan, and that's the wing, and even further damage. And I mean, talk about heaping, just poor Alex Young, Malaysia. They've had the worst season in A1GP, and it's just not getting any better. On top of which, the racetrack at turn 12 and 13 once again is covered in dust.
Absolutely. Australia still running, by the way, despite that earlier pit stop. Here you've got the race leader, Germany. You've got the lapped car of Switzerland in behind, then Canada, then France, then New Zealand. So these are all look how close these front runners are, and Germany not able to really escape the clutches.
And Smith rightly too. I'm just going to say Neil Yanni ought to pull over and let this group of 4 cars get through, and he has done so. And I think that was absolutely correct on the part of the Swiss team to advise Neil Yanni, let these 4 cars go. Do not get involved in their battle. One day, if you did, this may come back and bite you.
That helped Germany a little bit, but what it does mean is that Canada now has a bit of clear air, and with that fast lap a moment ago from Rob Wickens of Canada, there's no denying that this final set of tyres is working well. They may have been able to save a new set of tyres, perhaps, or a virtually unused set of tyres for this final stint. That might have given him the edge of getting fastest lap. Now the best of the tyre is gone. We'll just have to keep an eye on Rob Wickens and see if he can maintain that pace. Right behind him is still France. France running in 3rd place, and now first victory for Loic Duval is not looking quite so likely. The man who started on pole position but also harried Christian Vittoris in the second stint of this race, but the pit stops have really counted against the French team here today, and he's still got to watch out from behind, because there is the Black Beauty, New Zealand, with a chance of taking the lead in the title battle here today, and Johnny Reid won't want to throw away an opportunity like that. Then there's the gap back to Ireland, who've done brilliantly with the pit stop there. Great strategy from Team Ireland. It's brought Ireland into 6th position, and remember, they were involved in an instant earlier on, so that's fantastic. They made an extra pit stop in this race, and yet they're running in 6th place, I think it is, and then the others 5th place it is now. 5th place for Ireland, 6th for Brazil, 7th for China, and then in 8th place South Africa.
And really what's happening, Ireland, they're somewhat 3 and a bit seconds behind New Zealand. The lead of this race, Germany's running at a slower pace, and therefore the 3 cars that are behind Germany are also being affected by the German pace. But Adam Carroll running in clear air, 4th place, and he is able to run at the pace he can, well, his own natural pace. And we've got 11 laps to go. Let's say within 6 laps, expect to see Ireland closing down on that current 4th place for New Zealand.
Switzerland back out again after yet another visit to the pits, and here France on the inside of Canada, almost nearly did it. That was a good attempt by Duval.
Well, that's the part of the racetrack that he's been very, very strong indeed. But of course, if you make the attempt, you lose, and now that's given the advantage back to Johnny Reid in New Zealand. Look at the moves on the straight from France, defending one side then the other. You've got to be careful, because you're allowed to make one defence, but no more. You're not allowed to come back again and defend from the other side of the circuit.
And the same happened ahead.
Look at this, the dust that was kicked up.
Somebody else had just been off, and Wickens cleverly there trying to get the tyres clean.
Exactly, I was just going to say, there's so much dust now on the start-finish straight. Not a problem in a straight line, but when you get to put the brakes on, make the turn into turn 1, there could be.
Ireland nearly went too wide into turn one. I was just glancing out of the commentary box window. Carroll saved it. I think he got caught on the dust as well, and it made the car run wide, but he managed to just stay in front of Brazil. That was a bit of a moment for Adam Carroll, having made so much progress.
Just watching Carroll through turn 4, he's got opposite lock on. I mean, he's built like a bull. He's the strongest driver, physically the strongest driver, I would say, in A1GP, and he simply just put the car on his shoulders and dragged it round turn 4.
Now, we've got a bit of a radio replay coming up with Team Switzerland. Let's hear what's been going on.
You shouldn't have done that, dude. You should not have done that.
No, he was told he shouldn't have done that. It was obviously Neil Yarny's decision to get out of the way rather than the team's decision.
Well, that's interesting. I would have said the team would have said that, but obviously that was not the case. And he's getting a telling off from his pit wall crew to say you shouldn't have done that. In my opinion, he was right to have done it because this is a race for the podium. And but Neil Yarny running all the way down in 15th place. Well, how many laps is he behind? He's actually, in fact, on the race lap. Nevertheless, that was the judgment that was made by the pit wall that it was incorrect of Neil Yarny to be so kind.
Well, we've still got a great tussle going on with 9 laps to go. There's Ireland, who you just saw in the background, and still little to choose between Canada and France in that battle for second position. A great pit stop by the Canadian team that put them ahead. And remember, Canada and Ireland sharing technical information. The engineers and guys all work together there, and they're both having a pretty good run so far.
Well, Christian Vetors for Germany has got a second or third or fourth win, whatever it is, because he's managed to pull just over a second of an advantage over Rob Wickens in second place. And we haven't seen that gap, and in fact it looks like it's a little over a second in the space of 5 corners. So whether Rob Wickens is struggling, has a problem, or whether it's just Christian Vetors has found something on this run, he's pulling away from second place Canada.
Yeah, he is. And look at France, he loves that tight line into there. China was running in 7th place and they're off. Disaster for Frankie Cheng now.
Down at turn 7, the exit of turn 7, car facing the wrong way. Marshall's once again run to get to that car. But here's the battle for second place. France has a look down the inside, no way. Johnny Reid follows France but decides that his best chance is going to come maybe a little bit later in this race.
Well, demise of China will mean that Mexico come into the points. They were running in 11th place. Let's see what happened to China here, John.
Well, he's just very wide in the corner. He gets onto all that very, very fine powder on the racetrack. And that's simply like driving on you might call it brown ice.
Well, there's a bit of a look of disbelief down there, isn't there, as China lose a chance to score points. Mexico now in 10th, those of David Garza, the new driver for Team Mexico, is only in his second event. He'll be pleased if he can hold it together for the remainder of this race. It also brings South Africa up now to 7th, USA into 8th place, 9th place.
Team Germany under investigation.
Goodness me, now that is news. Team Germany, race leader, under investigation by the stewards. What is it for? We don't know yet. We'll find out as soon as we can. But under investigation, suddenly this race takes on yet another complexion.
And in the meantime, Switzerland, who are back on track, having given Neil Yarny a right wigging from the pit lane, has made the fastest race lap by a significant margin, 15.114. So Switzerland will go away, I suspect, with 1 point from this feature race.
Team Germany under investigation. We don't know why yet, but he's pulled away in the meantime from Canada and from France. Well, all he can do is just keep pushing and not worry about it. The team probably won't even tell him that yet. They'll be discussing with the race director what the problem is and whether they can try and defend themselves. No doubt the team manager will be up to see the race director. We may be into a timed race. We are, in fact. It's going to run out of time, this race. We've had the safety car out there, so it's not going to be 52 laps anymore, and there are 4.5 minutes plus 1 lap to go in this race.
Well, I think we've just about had it all here this afternoon in Taupo, and Switzerland been in and out of the pits for driving issues. Now, we don't know yet the cause of that reason for investigation. Germany, Canada and Ireland all under investigation. So cars running in 1st, 2nd and 5th place are under investigation.
Well, I was just about to say, could be a chance for Canada, but now they're under investigation as well. So where do we look next? I don't know quite.
Well, maybe Switzerland will win this race by the end of the day.
Well, actually, what it means is that France might win this race yet. The Loic Duval still might get his first ever win, and he's certainly pushing for it.
And watch, he's getting under the rear wing, coming down the main straight. Canada fans coming to the left of the racetrack. Now Duval goes out to the right. Can he get far enough ahead under the brakes? He's... no,
not quite. That camera shot sort of foreshortens it. Difficult to work out who's got the edge into the corner, but it is still Canada. Look how New Zealand have closed up, and the fans get a feeling for the fact that Johnny Reid might join in this one now. Look, right in, tucked in behind Team France, and with those cars, or a couple of the cars ahead here, under investigation, in danger perhaps of receiving some sort of penalty, well, of course, that could boost Johnny Reid's chances.
Indeed it will do, because if he signs himself running in second place on the road because Germany and Canada have had to make a penalty, then it's going to be really a shootout in the closing minutes, and it's 2 minutes and 58 seconds of this. Effectively, we've got the best part of 3 laps of this race remaining.
So time's running out here. The clock is ticking away. David Sears must be tense down there at the moment as he waits to see whether Germany is going to hold on, whether Christian Vittoris is going to take his first win in A1GP World Cup of Motorsport, back up that victory that Michael Ammermuller had last time out in Zhuhai. But what about Johnny Reid here? He's not given up on a potential podium finish. He won the first race of the day. He wants to be on the podium. He's only got one car to try and get past to achieve that.
Top 6 cars covered by in total 5.7 seconds, and that was at the last lap, lap 46.
Well, Germany turn into that tricky turn 12 with a useful advantage now over Canada, and if that investigation doesn't give them any kind of penalty, Germany looking quite composed and comfortable for the victory, possibly. 2 minutes, a few seconds and a lap to go in the race, the feature race here in Taupo. Canada, France, New Zealand all fighting for second place. A gap back to Ireland in 5th position. Brazil holding on to 6th. Then South Africa, United States. Australia's come in. A quick pit stop sent him on his way again. USA still up in the points. Then the Netherlands. And then the final points holder, Mexico.
Looking back from the Germany car. So down into turn 7 under brakes once again. This is on lap 48. And it's 1.5 minutes of this race remaining plus 1 lap. Gap 1.6 seconds to Canada, and a further 0.5 of a second from Canada back to France.
Time ticks away. It's tense stuff here. What is going to happen? Still, the stewards investigating something or other. The team don't even know quite what the problem is. Well, is there going to be a penalty before the end? If they decide afterwards, of course, they can always add a time penalty after the end of the race, so that could cause some confusion.
It's not going to help me in the post-race interviews, that's all I will say.
Well, hopefully they'll have it sorted out when the checkered flag comes out, and they'll decide whether there will be one or not. It looks as though Germany's in good shape here. Canada, France, New Zealand. Then look at Brazil, she's shadowing Ireland.
Yeah, Brazil coming back strongly. That last lap from Brazil, 1 minute 15.9. Quickest car on the racetrack right now, aside from Switzerland, who yet again increased the lap. Switzerland's on a 1:14.679.
Wow,
I didn't think anybody was going to do it quicker than the 15.1 that Switzerland already held. He's found a further half second.
Yeah, but he's down out of the points. He's got a 1 point at least, so better make a note of that, because that'll put Switzerland on 80 points, and it still changes all the points connotations that we've got going on here today. New Zealand still shadowing France, and France, who looked like potential winners earlier on, now not so much. It's going to be so tight here. Still a little bit of time to tick away.
Just looking at Johnny Reid's head as he comes out of turn 1, getting the feeling he's leaning it back in the side of the cockpit. He's also feeling the pressure, the physical strain, running so close behind a number of cars, having to concentrate on what you're doing, at the same time keep your eyes and nerves aware of what's happening ahead of you.
The clock goes to 0. We will go on to their final lap when they come past us next time. They'll be given the last lap board, and Germany looking good at the moment, and it looks as though Christian Vittoris is in great shape to take his first win, but he's still got to complete this lap and the next one.
And he's under investigation, so he might take the checkered flag. But until we know the result of these investigations, we won't be able to declare who is the winner of this race.
The final lap across the line he goes. It's Germany from Canada, who's managed to escape a bit there from France and New Zealand, and then Ireland in the background. Now, does Johnny Reid take a gamble here? I don't think he should. I think, if anything, he should just hold his position, because New Zealand will take the series lead if he just stays where he is. He's got one of his big rivals ahead of him. He'd love to finish on the podium, but if he stays where he is and everybody else finishes where they are with no penalties applied, New Zealand will be the new leaders once again. They led after the Czech Republic race, where he won both races. They've dropped away just recently, but with Switzerland's problems here today, New Zealand are on target to reclaim the top spot in the championship.
Last time through turn 9 on a racing lap for the leaders in this race: Germany, Canada, France, New Zealand and Ireland, followed by Brazil.
Up to the top corner, this long left-hander that leads onto the straight, and it is still looking very good for Germany to really get their campaign going as Michael Ammermuller did at the last event in China. It's going to be surely now the 18-year-old who lives near the Nürburgring, started his kart racing at the Kerpen racetrack where Michael Schumacher famously began his career. It is going to be Christian Vittoris who becomes another new race driver to win in A1GP. It's Germany who are successful at Taupo as they were last year. Canada takes a brilliant second for Rob Wickens. That's his best ever finish, and third goes to France.
And fourth is back to New Zealand, fifth Ireland, Brazil. Top 6 cars covered by 5.1 seconds.
What a fantastic race all the way to the end, and it's been achieved by Christian Vittoris, the man who came into the team. He was such an impressive rookie last year when he drove alongside Nico Hülkenberg, given a race seat chance. He qualified well, couldn't quite deliver the race performances, but crossing the line now, the man who's had the worst weekend surely of his season, at least, if not his career. 14th place for poor old Neil Yarni.
Absolutely, and on top of which he got a fairly public finger wagging from his crew in the pit lane telling him not to let those cars go through. I think that was an incorrect judgment or call from the pit wall, that's my view. But a superb drive by Christian Vittoris, an outstanding weekend for the German team. They did the work for the feature race, getting on the front row of the grid. I thought the pressure from France initially, to some degree lesser from Canada, would see Christian Vittoris maybe not being ready to deal with winning a race with that level of pressure. He's proved me wrong, and he's done a superb job for his nation. And Germany winners back-to-back. Sprint race in Zhuhai, feature race here in Taupo.
They are really back to the sort of form that we saw in season 2 when Nico Hülkenberg was driving. Hülkenberg loved this Taupo circuit and he dominated the 2 races, and now Christian Vittoris has come along and he has won the feature race here today after an impressive run in qualifying as well, and he deserves a lot of congratulations because he was always under pressure there from Team France in particular, from Team Canada as well. And what about New Zealand? Now they've taken the series lead. Let's just listen to some of the radio communication with Team Germany on that last lap.
Pit speed, watch your pit speed, line up nice and square, keep it calm.
Welcome back to Taupo, New Zealand. Christian Vittoris getting his first win in A1GP following up Michael Ammermuller's victory in China. Confirmation then of the feature race result from Taupo. This is how it looks. Germany first, but they're still under investigation. Canada finishing off in second, also under investigation. We'll tell you a little bit about that just as soon as we hear more. France in third, New Zealand finishing in fourth. That means they take the championship lead as things stand. So, fascinating feature race full of pretty much everything. Let's get Ollie and Piers' reaction to it. A busy old time for the stewards, perhaps, but it began right at the very start, Piers. A great start for Switzerland, lousy for New Zealand.
Yeah, really bogged down at the start. He struggled off the start, but amazingly ended up in fourth at the end of the race. But yeah, completely bogged down at the start and got swamped by 5 or 6 other cars.
And Ollie, we saw a glimpse of it with the reverse shot. We're going to see that again now. What is going on with Team GBR's car as we begin to see it crawl away here?
Yeah, if you look closely here, you'll just start to see some smoke or some oil coming out the back of the car. We picked up on that quite early. I would say there's probably an oil leak going on, or a water leak. And also we noticed Robbie lose a place sort of within the first lap. I would suggest that the oil or water would have got on the rear tyres, made the car very difficult to drive.
Yeah, what that then meant is that GBR spent the majority of the race back in the garage trying to wonder what on earth had gone wrong for them. A hugely disappointing weekend for Robbie in particular. What does it mean for a wider perspective, GBR's title hopes?
Yeah, it's a terrible weekend with regards to points. You know, through no fault of Robbie, the car or engines obviously had a problem. It means it's going to be very difficult. We're going to have a very strong end of year. But as you've seen this weekend, anything can happen. Switzerland came in with a big lead, and you know, New Zealand lead with the championship lead.
So still optimistic ahead of the rest of the season. Let's talk about Germany and France, who pitted together. Germany always so strong in the pits, as we know, and this on the first stop, did it make the difference between these two sides?
For me, yeah, I think Loic de Vaal was probably the driver of the weekend in terms of raw pace. He was quickest throughout the race. But unfortunately, you know, in both these pit stops, the team struggled a little bit. here we see Loic pitting, and Germany's crew, always one of the best out there, a fantastic stop.
It shouldn't make the difference now, should it? We're so far into A1GP, but still pit stops can be a problem for teams, can't they?
Yeah, there's a lot of teams having bad stops. I mean, Loic did ever so well there to avoid Czech Republic car. You know, he was very alert. The team probably shouldn't have let him go, but I think Loic will be bitterly disappointed because he's desperate for that first win.
So many ding-dongs are out on the track today, especially in that feature race. What about what happened with Team Switzerland? Piers, they went out trying to take on Pakistan. How frustrating would this have been, though, for Neil Yarni, just stuck behind that Pakistan car?
Yeah, he had to make his move very quickly, so he went for it, but he left himself exposed on the outside here. And as you see, he runs out of room and then really is trying to slow the car down a little bit on the grass, and it's just too late, and it's race over really from then on.
Talked about the fact that the dust on the track and the dirt hanging around the track might be a problem in the end. Complete carnage halfway through this race. I don't think either of you thought it was going to be quite as bad as it was, but complete carnage took place and cars ended up all over the place, Ollie.
Yeah, well, we actually thought it was oil here in the studio to start with. You know, a lot of cars going off, and it was unclear exactly what it was, but we've been told it was due to dust. But several cars spinning, and even once the yellows are out. Here we see Indonesia coming into the gravel. I think he was one of the first spinners. You've got Australia stuck on the outside. And even then with the yellows, you know, Team Netherlands run wide and lose a couple of places.
Yeah, it certainly was pretty interesting out there on track today. Ended in controversy as well. Germany winning, Canada second. Both teams, though, currently under investigation, so it could all still change. At the moment, though, this is how things stand in the championship points table after 5 rounds. New Zealand on home soil, they end up taking the lead. How fitting that should be the case at Taupo. 2 points ahead of Switzerland at the moment, and Team France equal on points. Behind them, Team Germany, and you have to look right down there to find GBR, but as Ollie has said, they're optimistic that they can turn things around in the second half of the season. So A1 back in business here in Taupo. In a fortnight's time, the series is off to Sydney for a second time. Here's what happened last year at Eastern Creek.
Team Germany goes for it.
That was absolutely stunning.
Contact! Team Germany come through. Fantastic again from Nico Hulkenberg. Oh no, we've got a big accident behind. 2 cars have tangled. Oh, there's been a hit. And he got round the outside at turn 1. What a manoeuvre! Nico Hulkenberg wins for Team Germany.
So then, confirmation that February the 2nd is the date for your diary for Oz. An early start or a late night, whatever you fancy. 3 a.m. Sky Sports 1 from Australia, qualifying on the Saturday. On the Sunday, same time, same place for race day. My thanks to Ollie and Piers for joining me in the very early hours of the morning over the last couple of days. Race day from Taupo was almost as dramatic as its setting, and fittingly it was the venue for Team New Zealand to stake their claim on the championship. More sport, news and views at skysports.com.